Hello, welcome to Hazardous Opinions. I am Eric. This is Andy.
Hello.
And today we were doing Wolfenstein, The New Order. I don't know what accent that is, but it's Wolfenstein, The New Order. It was developed by Machine Games and published by Bethesda. And so you know it's good. Composed by Mick Gordon, who actually did a lot of the music for Doom, which is the game is a very Doom-like game.
I can very much see that. That's a good comparison.
Yeah. So, very good soundtrack throughout this. Single player, first person shooter. It got nominated in the Game Awards for best narrative and best shooter in the year of, well, when did this come out?
2014.
2014. Yeah. So
Yeah, it came out in May 2014. It was a weird year where we were just coming off of some of the best video games of all time in like 2012, 2013. And then Machine Games drops this.
yeah,
It's just fucking awesome game.
A whole fucking load of Nazi killing. This is a new series made by them. They have a bunch of Wolfenstein games before this, dating all the way back to Castle Wolfenstein in 1981.
Yes.
There's also, like, in the newer generations, the one was just called Wolfenstein, came out in 2009. I played a little bit of that one. That one was pretty good. But this new series that they came out with is definitely the definitive Wolfenstein, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's on all platforms, so you can get it pretty much anywhere. It was on last gen and it's on new gen. I believe they even upped it with some of the new 4K textures, at least on Xbox. So it's a very easy to obtain game. It should be pretty cheap by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it was a very worthy remake and rebooting of a series.
Absolutely.
Like Bethesda also did with Doom.
Yep.
They seem to be pretty good at reviving dead series or game series that aren't really like going in a amazing direction. Because Bethesda also did that with Fallout. They kind of rejuvenated and took the rights from it when that company was failing and made it the big series it is today.
I didn't know that Bethesda picked it up.
Yeah, they picked it up after, I believe it's Fallout Tactics or Brotherhood was the last one.
Oh, okay.
From the original creators.
Yeah, I remember Fallout Tactics. Fallout Tactics is a very, very old one. Well, this is the first one was just Fallout, and then that was like a top down.
Yep, isometric RPG.
Yeah, isometric RPG. Yep, exactly. It wasn't like a turn based, was it?
It was semi turn based. Like it was. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's definitely not like a style of game that we have anymore nowadays. Like it had stuff like VATS.
Yeah,
I don't think it was called VATS in the first game, but
I don't think so.
you can like target body parts, and it was like semi turn based. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Wolfenstein has come a very long way from being its old. It was a very Doom like shooter.
Yeah.
You kind of you go through hallways and you just shoot Nazis. You get pickups, and that's that. Sometimes you fight bosses.
Yeah.
And now it's a whole first person shooter. There's a narrative to it. There's a lot of really good mechanics I'd like to talk about in this game as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of the mechanics, it's like, so the gameplay loop is you go into a level or whatever, a lot like Doom. but instead of demons, it's Nazis, and you could be like, what's the difference? But it's Nazis, and so instead of like pickups, the pickups are a little more, well, I want to say less streamlined than it is in Doom, because you spend like most of the time when you're not shooting, you're going around picking up stuff. And
You're spamming X while staring at the ground.
exactly. And I was thinking about this as I was playing. I'm like, wouldn't it be a thing to where you could just go around and just automatically pick it up, or have it just floating there? I don't even care if it's like arcadey style. Like I don't like if it's like that, then it just makes it more streamlined for me, and I don't have to, I can see it from more of a distance too, so I can actually get through a level without actually, you know, fucking myself up and
Yeah.
trying to pick up something that could save my life, but I'm spending, 2 minutes trying to pick it up when I keep missing because I'm running too fast. And um, that happens a lot too. I have some complaints about that, but other than that, like it is a good game. It's a great game. I coming from being a fan of Doom, like this, I felt right at home at this with this, and they kind of just like up the ante from Doom also. Like you can pick up Nazi weapons, and you can hold dual wield of any type of gun. So you just have a whole weapon wheel, and then like half of them are dual wield. Um, so
Yeah. Before we jump too deep into the mechanics, what would you rate this game?
I would rate this an 8 out of 10. Solid 8.5 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
It just keeps going up.
I like this game, man. I honestly, I wish I had more time to play it before talking about it, because there was like, I have this thing where when I'm playing a game, I have to get good at it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I I've replayed some levels where like I would die a lot just so I can get through it a lot better and be like, okay, I'm good with that run. Like I know a lot of people don't do this, but like I actually like I will go back and try to perfect a level, and something about this seems very satisfying to me, because I the figuring out the different types of enemies throughout this and how to defeat them easier, and then actually figuring out how to move around better, and using the right weapons for them and everything is just something really appealing to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I solid 9 out of 10 out of all that. I talk too much, but
With you being a big stealth guy, I can see you definitely replaying a lot of these missions to,
yeah,
like clear it without being seen, type of thing.
absolutely. First time I played this, that was what I was doing, to a fault, because that's probably why I was never able to finish it the first time. Because I would I could be a perfectionist, and I would, every time I get spotted, I'd restart the last checkpoint and try to do it again. But this time I was a bit more lenient with that. I was more running and gunning using my dual wields, and um yeah, using taking the perk system to my full advantage this time, actually, than my first
Yeah.
playthrough. So
Yeah, and this game gives you the opportunity to take those different kind of paths, which is nice.
yeah, they
Um,
actually like tailor the perk system to your play style, which I really like. So
yeah, and it definitely tailors to mine as well. Um, this game is fantastic. As I played through this again for the maybe sixth completion, um, I was still in love with this game the entire time. I love the mechanics. I love the gameplay. The story's okay. And it
yeah,
kind of just ends. But I like the gameplay loop for this game is just one of the best for first person shooters for me. And this is a
absolutely,
very solid 9 for me as well.
yeah. And you can play it however you want, and I love that, because like you don't have to go running and gunning, but if you wanted to, you could just pull two of them bitches out, two guns, bitch, and then just go around and do your thing, and it's so fun to do.
But one of the biggest issues I do have with that is, can we get like a Doom style like slowdown if we're gonna open the weapon wheel?
Right.
There's at least 4 times in this playthrough where I died trying to switch a weapon
Oh,
because I
yeah.
don't I never figured out how the Y feature works. If it was like just your last weapon used, but you can only have 2 weapons on your hotbar, and then you have to switch everything else through the wheel.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would have my laser craft work, and so when one weapon ran out of ammo, I was basically fucked if I couldn't switch weapons in time.
Yeah, and unfortunately it's even worse on PC. I played most of this game on PC, and so you scroll through the weapon wheel through the scroll wheel,
Oh yeah.
and so it pops up right away, and you're scrolling through, and then it just goes around clockwise until you're on the weapon you got. But
Yep.
me being so like trying to switch weapons, I'm trying to switch, and I'm always landing on the wrong weapon. So I have to scroll back and all that shit. And it's just too much chaos going on to actually figure out what weapon I need to pull out. And like, yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
especially at some points in this game where you actually have to be on point because you're constantly getting shot at and there's no cover. Um, yeah, I have I think it was like towards the end where it gets really hard is where you really have to be on your shit because um like I remember that one room where there's this two super soldaten, and they had both had miniguns, and I died so many times on that level. It was like a small room too, and on top of those two guys there was like a shit ton of other Nazis shooting at you too. um I ended up having to cheese that one.
I
But
think I know the
it's
room you mean, like the one
yeah,
with all the helicopters,
no, it was like in
or
the
the one later.
sewers after you're in the base that got taken over. Do you remember that?
Oh,
The
okay,
base
yeah.
got destroyed or whatever, and you went down into like the hangar, and then you went in like through the sewers and stuff.
Hmm.
And I opted to cheese it by staying inside the sewer pipe and like trying to snipe the super soldiers before I actually even exited the pipe. And since I was in the pipe, none of the other Nazis have been activated yet. So I cheated myself on that. Like I feel bad about that, and I'm admitting it now that I was a bitch on that level because I couldn't find any other way. But
Sometimes you gotta cheese it.
sometimes the cheesy is the way.
Most of the bosses I would say in this game are very much cat and mouse, and you're just nooky, nook and like cranny, like hiding in little things, getting your pop shots off at some of these big bosses, and then hiding again. And
It reminds me
uh,
of like these bosses remind me of Skyrim dragons. Like you kind of just hide in a corner and then you pop out, like shoot your bow at the
yep,
dragon and then hop back into cover. It's like the same concept here.
yeah, the bosses almost feel the complete opposite of a lot of the enemies. Like, whereas I feel like I didn't take cover very often in just normal gunfights. I would have my dual machine guns out, or I would have my shotgun with the ricochet thing attached. Was one of the perks you'll unlock.
Yeah.
Um, and I would just start shooting, start blasting.
Well, that doesn't always work with the bosses. Oh, well, what do you mean with the bosses? Like what
Like
bosses are you talking about?
that's how I would take on just everyday soldiers. But like
Oh,
the
right.
bosses, I would hide more. So it was like
Yeah,
more of the
exactly.
opposite for me.
So yeah, you're right. Like so it's like completely opposite gameplay style with the bosses compared to everything else in the game. It seems almost contradictory to what they were going for. And
Yeah,
one of those like that's one of those things that's like it kind of falls short there. The boss battles could have been better, but they were just really like short paced and or
yeah. I think they could
slow
have been
paced
more
and
interactive. Like this game came out in 2014. Like
Right.
you guys have seen all the previous boss battles before this. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff in this game is not new
No.
from the first person elements it's building off of before. Could have done something more original with some of the bosses, but I mean they're not terrible for what the game is though. So
No. I mean, for it being like Doom inspired in the first place, it's kind of surprising to see a boss fight that's so like that kind of play style too. Because
yeah.
you remember in Doom 2016, where every boss you encountered, well, every boss ended up being like a new enemy that you faced anyways. But you
Yep.
would actually fight them the same way you would as anybody else, is by running around and actually like using the map to your advantage and, shooting them with heavy weapons. But in this, it's like there's like a little bits of puzzles to them too. You have to figure out like how to defeat them rather than just shooting them, which is something that I like. But um, it also feels kind of weird, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's the two main bosses in this game. There's the one where you're just going to be shooting weak spots for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there's the final boss. We actually have to solve like the puzzle. I assume that's what you're talking about with the Zeppelins.
Yep.
Um, which I spent way too long trying to figure out what was even going on with that one.
Me too, dude. That was I was yelling. Scared my cats away. I was raging, dude. I could not figure out how to how to beat this game, dude. And I wasn't gonna about to look up a tutorial on how to do it because like I wanted to feel like I was, like like if I'm gonna review this game, I'm gonna play it until I figure it out, and then that's gonna be my opinion of that boss fight.
Yeah.
So I ended up figuring it out after like wandering aimlessly until finding those cannons and actually doing it. But up until then, it was complete frustration. There was no
Right.
hints at all. At least with the other ones, I actually got hints. Like with the London
Yeah, the
monitor,
one in Monder. Yep.
uh, we had um, what's his face? Uh,
Whoever you saved, I think should
yeah,
be
that
popping
guy
in your
from
ear.
the camp.
Yep.
I apologize for forgetting his name, but like he was
Either
in there.
Fergus or Wyatt.
Was it Fergus or Wyatt? No, I'm pretty sure it was that guy from the camp
Camp.
that you saved, the
Oh, Set.
engineer guy.
Yeah.
Set?
Yep. Set.
Yeah, that guy. He was on the radio with you and he was telling you how to defeat it, which I liked. It didn't seem like any hand holding or anything, but um I think he only did it after you were struggling a bit to figure out what was going on. Which I liked. I'd rather do that than actually die so many times before figuring it out.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah, I like that. But
Yeah.
in general, the bosses kind of sucked, but the rest of the game is good.
Indeed. I actually took the opportunity, this being my umpteenth playthrough, to do the collectibles in this run,
You
since I
actually got
hadn't
them all?
hadn't got them on the Xbox One before, but I've
Yep.
played this game on like 360 and stuff, and got all the stuff on there.
You got them all, huh?
Yeah, and I initially, when I was going through the game, I was making notes about it. I'm like, okay, just another game of pointless collectibles. Like, what the fuck is the purpose of all this gold, all these codes? And then I actually went to the main menu stuff, and there's an extras for the collectibles,
Oh,
and there's actually a really cool purpose to them, which is unique, especially for a first-person shooter.
okay.
Um, so for the Enigma codes, they're these like documents you find around the levels. Um, it brings you, there's four different puzzles on the main menu, and you have to solve the code and, using those. They're like hints or something like that.
Yeah.
These different codes you find through the game. And so once you solve all four of those are four different game modes that you get to play the game in.
Oh,
So like one is like a hardcore Iron Man um, where it's like you can't pick up health and you only get one life. Different challenges, stuff like that. And there was, I think, some easier ones, but actually, like stuff that contributes to the game. And I would like to go try some of those game modes and see how they are.
That's interesting. Yeah, because you never see that. Usually, when a developer makes a game, they'll add collectibles in there just for points ticking off towards that 100%.
Yeah,
Like, because they're gonna love collecting this collectible that doesn't serve any use other than to make it to 100% just for bragging rights. But at least like if you can collect them and then actually do something with it, I really like that. Even if it's like a
yeah,
game mode just to play the game again in a different way, like that's really creative. I like that.
right. Yeah, and there's definitely one of the game modes, I can't remember the name, that I'm gonna play through again here, just because it sounded interesting. And I think all the other stuff, like the gold, was like concept art on the main menu.
No,
So,
was it
uh,
concept art? Because I'm pretty sure concept art is a different collectible in its own, and I think you get it
oh,
like regardless.
yeah, you may be right. Either way, there's some other collectibles. There's quite a bit of collectibles actually in this game. You'll get like letters that gives you like other like just cool side stories
Yeah.
that really like add to the universe, um, about how the Nazi reign worked over the last 14 years that you were in the coma, and getting that like concept arts as well, the gold pieces, just different stuff that like there's really neat stuff I like to look at in the main menu. May not be for everyone.
No, I totally agree. I actually really enjoyed going around and looking at those different notes of like whether they're like letters from people or um either like news articles or whatever they're kind of scattered around kind of because it's
Yeah,
kind of like it's like world building, so it kind of just explains like what's going on. It just makes it seem like a much bigger world than what you're actually operating in, because each level has a bunch of notes explaining like I remember one that happened there. One I read was in home base and talking in Berlin, saying that talking about how um somebody was charged for murder and sexual assault that were publicly executed. And so I'm like,
hmm,
okay, sure, that works. I mean that doesn't seem as inhumane as Nazis seem to be. But then there was another one where they were going in through people's homes and taking their children away to make them become soldiers. And I know that probably still happens in some countries. I'm not educated on that, so don't hold me to that. But like, it might happen. I'm not sure. But that seems more of like a Nazi way of handling things. They just go around murdering everybody who doesn't agree with them.
yeah. I There's a lot of that stuff that like aren't even actual menu collectibles. Like they don't
Yeah.
show up in your tracker or anything. They're just like notes you can read, stories you can overhear. There was one, I think it was during the one of the sewers levels. You could actually hear a tenant in one of the apartments saying, like, calling the police and trying to report their neighbor because they thought they were homosexual.
Wow.
So there's a lot of really cool details throughout this game, even though the overarching story of this game can be very silly at times,
Yeah,
especially into the second game as it gets a lot more absurd.
it
Um,
does.
but some of that stuff that like actually did happen under Nazi rule, um, like does make its way into this game. Like they do show the dark sides in the game, along with doing a lot of absurd humor as well to keep it light.
Yeah, it seems like they try to keep the whole thing like fun and exciting and lighthearted, but they also want to um convey the fact that these are Nazis. Like these people are heartless and cruel, and they do well. We do get to see a lot of that crazy shit within the story. Also, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
but they also they also like kind of shed light on the people in this world and how they're being affected by all this the New Order and stuff. So it kind of puts into perspective on like how you can imagine this world to be if the Nazis didn't win the war. And as scary as it is, and this game is by no means like realistic. Like we'll get into it. Like Blazkowicz goes through like a whole shit ton of things that definitely should have killed him. But it's realistic in terms of like I think it's just imaginative. I think it's creative, and I really like it.
Yeah. Um, Machine Games really did great here, and I hope they get to make more stories in the future under Bethesda. As of right now, I
Absolutely.
believe it is only Wolfenstein underneath
Yeah.
their works. So they've done 3 Wolfenstein games now, 3 or 4. So
3.
there'd be this one, New Blood, New Colossus, and then I think they made one Old Blood, or that might have been a DLC
The Old Blood. It was an
or a small
expansion
game.
to I think it was an expansion to New Order, which would made it a prequel to the New Order.
Okay.
Um so
Yeah.
that one I actually looked into that one. So that one takes place back in World War II while the war is still going on. And there's actually zombies going on because the Nazis are doing experimentation and stuff, and it goes wrong, so they created zombies.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty fun.
Oh, yes, yes, I did actually play that one. That is good. I get that. I got it confused with Zombie Army Trilogy. It reminded me a
Yeah,
lot of that.
I actually don't know if it's an expansion. I think it's a game on its own, but it's actually really short. So
Yeah, I think it was sold on its own,
yeah.
but I
um
think it might have been
according
digital only.
according to Wikipedia, they're also working on an Indiana Jones game that's to be
Ooh,
announced, and Wolfenstein 3. So the story continues apparently.
that would be fucking cool. The
Yeah.
Indiana Jones thing, but
Yeah, exactly. I
Wolfenstein
think
3 is
that'd be
cool.
really cool.
That's yeah, that's really exciting. I don't know if I've played a good Indiana Jones game other than maybe Lego Indiana Jones. So
Lego Indiana Jones is the only one I've every only Indiana Jones game I've played. I've seen all those other Indiana Jones games for like PS2 or whatever, but like
yeah,
it never really um I wasn't
struck your
really
fancy.
attracted to it because I thought it was one of those dumb movie adaptation games that they're not really that good usually.
Yeah. Yep. Um, so as we said, the like the gunplay in this game is top notch and should be modeled and looked after more in
Yeah,
future games.
absolutely.
Um, the armor health system is okay. It can be a little hectic or even sometimes like monotonous when you're going around after a battle and trying to click on a bunch of pieces of metal on the ground.
Yeah.
But I it's satisfying sometimes. Like the overcharging of health is really cool of an idea. Um, like where you get your health back up to full, and then any health you take after that, like overcharges you, so it gives you more health. And you don't have a cap there, but it will slowly tick down.
Yeah.
So
And I really like that. That's especially helpful when you're getting shot at. The only problem I have with that is that, you don't know where health kits are because they're not like
mhm.
obvious or whatever. At least with Doom, like they're just floating there. It's like arcade style. You just go like, oh, you see health like all the way across the room. You got to go over there and grab it. But this, they make it easier by like highlighting it.
Yeah, it glows.
um it glows, yeah, it like shimmers or whatever, but it's still like a small object on the floor usually. So you got to actually like look for it, and when you're getting shot at, that's not really a smart thing to do.
Yeah,
um Usually, I mean, thankfully usually they're behind cover, so you can actually use that to your advantage too. But for the I think to make the full use of the overcharge thing, um it'd be nice to actually see it and then actually grab it as you're shooting people. But It's a minor complaint. I mean, in a way, you could play this to where you're like running from cover to cover, but it doesn't really seem like a cover based game. So
Yeah,
it contradicts itself in that aspect. But I don't know. I don't know how they could really fix that without making it too far from what they envisioned, if
I
I'm going to
think
be honest.
what you mentioned with like an auto pickup like Doom, like just a walkover. It doesn't
Yes.
even have to be a magnet.
Yeah.
Just a walkover would at least speed it up.
A
Um,
walkover. That would be perfect because you could at least see it on the ground and then you don't have to sit there and look at it to pick it up or just
yeah,
spam a button that you
because
need
then
to be
you're
used for shooting.
because then you're
You know,
taking your aim away from an enemy to look at the
exactly.
ground. So
So if you, at least if you can see it and then like walk over towards it while you were shooting people and then auto pick it up, I think that would be perfect.
yeah, not that this game like it would only serve to benefit the player a little bit more to make
Yeah.
the game a little bit easier. I don't think this game is hard by any means. Like the normal mode is like a really perfect level for
Yeah.
anyone who's probably played FPSs before. But there's five game or five difficulties in total, and they make jokes with the names and stuff and the pictures associated with it. But I think the like the five difficulties here are really well done for like the different levels of players.
Yeah.
Like I've played on the easiest, I've played on the middle, and I've played on the hardest, and there's really big differences in between each. And I think even going back through for second playthroughs, people are going to find um, that it adds a different layer to the game, like upping the difficulty.
It actually does. So it's like from what I actually never played any of the harder difficulties. I just stayed at the regular one because I even sucked at that. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna try that. But um, when I was looking up how to defeat certain characters, like the heavy the heavy soldiers, the ones
Mhm.
that shoot rockets at you, I was having a real hard time with those guys. So I looked it up and found that, on harder difficulties they actually operate differently. So um was it the super the rocket troopers,
Mhm.
they they actually are immune to all of what it was like, you can only use heavy weapons on them and they'll be immune to everything else, which is
Huh.
probably how they are right now on the normal difficulty. But
Yeah.
I actually forget what I read on how they did, but like I know what you're talking about though. Like it's not artificial difficulty. It's actually like changing the game in a way that makes it harder, which I
Yeah.
like. I don't
They're
like
they're not bullet sponges in the harder. Or I
exactly.
mean,
I
a
don't
little bit more, but it works.
yeah, like most games when they do difficulty, they're like, okay, so if they choose a harder difficulty, we're just gonna up the damage of the enemies and lower the health of the player and also increase the health of the enemies. So yeah, they're gonna have a real good time with that because they're just gonna have to figure it out to throw more bullets at them. But yeah,
one
I
of
like
the
how they actually figured out a way to change it up.
one of the best things this game also does is implementing RPG mechanics into a fucking first person shooter. Like your perk system, and there's health and armor upgrades that you can also find. I didn't find too many looking through the levels. They're pretty hidden, but
They
all those
are.
perks and armor health upgrades are permanent. So if you go start another playthrough, like decide to do all of those collectibles on the first playthrough on easy, and then go back through on the hardest, all those will carry with you. So that should make it a lot easier.
That is I really like that because almost feels like a new game plus at that point. And the better you get at it, the more. So you said you also get your perks too.
Yeah, yeah, all your perks carry over as long as you don't click new game. You have to do like just start at like chapter 1 or something in like your
Right.
timeline thing.
Okay. So yeah,
So
that's really nice.
Yeah,
It's
I
almost
really like it.
yeah, it's almost like they they inadvertently, I don't know if they inadvertently, it was probably intentional, but they made it replayable by adding a secret new game plus, by just like, if you want to go back and play the other chapters, you can have all your stuff. So don't worry about it. Play on a harder
Yeah.
difficulty. But like, would that count towards the achievement at the end of the game?
Which one is that?
Or like, if you
Oh,
get an
the
achievement
hardest
for
difficulty
beating it
achievement.
a hard, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually looking into it because it's going to be one of my next playthroughs. Is finally finishing the achievement list on this one. So
Yeah.
I 100%ed it on 360, so now I'm working on the new gen. Um,
Okay.
you only have to play the last level on the hardest difficulty. It's one of those.
Really?
So everything
So
I've
you just
seen
have to.
says that's still accurate. So you can just play the hardest level or the last level,
Okay, that's
which
interesting. I
I
didn't. Okay.
wish I knew that before because I played the old gen version all the way through on uh, Uber difficulty,
Oh
and
man.
this game is hard. Like it's like old school Modern Warfare hard.
Oh yeah. I totally believe that. I was struggling with the normal difficulty.
Like you're gonna be counting bullets. You're gonna be hiding behind a lot of corners
Oh
and
man.
taking your time in missions. But it's fun though. I can't say I hated the experience. Like it's difficult and you'll get frustrated, but I think
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Have you heard about our Lord and Savior Elden Ring?
Oh yes, I have.
If you like hard games, I would suggest that. Um,
It's so mechanic based though.
it is. It's very yeah.
I don't know. I never got into the Souls likes. I've tried them. Like I've gotten to Lords of the Fallen. I've played Dark Souls 1. Um, I just can't get good at them. I just
You're not.
yeah.
Nobody gets good at them. They just get good enough to tolerate the pain. At least that's how I view it, anyways. If you, I
I don't
know a
know.
lot
Have
of
you
people that
seen
are just good at the game and they can just breeze through it, but
have you
it's a
seen
lot of
the
like RPG managing and all that stuff. Like, you really got to make sure your class is on point for
yeah.
whatever your build you're going for, and do that. It's like it could get grindy sometimes too. So I think that's where most people tripped up, because like they think they could just get through the whole game and not have to worry much about the RPG mechanics, but it's really based on that, on like how you build your character. And yeah.
Have you heard of the Elden Ring player Let Me Solo Her?
Yes. Yeah, he's pretty popular. He's the
He's
only one that he helps other people defeat the Blade of Millennia.
yeah.
And
He was
yeah.
recently doing one with a mod that replaced all the enemies in the game with her.
Oh my god. I never even
Yeah.
played that boss fight, and I don't know if I want to. This is like an extra boss fight. You don't really have to play it for the main story, but
Okay.
she's out there, and like um I'm like dreading it if I ever want to try to do it, because like I know a lot of people that are actually like really good at the game, like absolutely get decimated by her, and I don't think I could. If they can't do it, I definitely can't do it. So like, I don't know, maybe someday.
Yeah. So another thing that this game does really good, and I think it might have just been a fad of the era, is like destructible environments. So was
Oh
it
yes.
Battlefield 4 coming out around that time? Was really heavy into this, and like COD Ghosts around that same time as well. Um, most of the environments in this game are destructible, which is nice because almost all the game is concrete. So you see big chunks flying off in the air. Um, you shoot up an enemy, and like you see helmets flying and metal pieces, and all the physics in this game are really fun.
They are. And it's actually it's actually a really good difficulty adding, like, it adds difficulty to the combat also, because you can't sit behind a concrete pillar and
Yeah,
get your bearings, or hide behind it and like shoot behind cover, because the Nazis are constantly shooting at you, and they have a lot of firepower, and they will destroy that concrete pillar you're hiding behind in not that much time at all.
We talked about this in Soma, and I think this is also just a big thing of the era, but leaning in games. And I think it's still
Yeah,
very common for games to have a lean feature. I don't think I ever use it in games. Like, it's one of those ones where if you zoom in when you're next to the edge of a wall or something, he'll like only
yeah.
poke his head out. It was a
I
cool
was
feature. I
using it
don't
a
think I ever
lot.
use it.
I was using it a lot in this one for sure. Uh, I was hiding behind cover a lot, mainly because like I don't know what was going on with my playstyle or whatever. If I wasn't picking up enough health or armor or something, but if I
Mhm.
felt like if I was out in the open for too long, I would just get destroyed. Like they would just like they would melt my health so far down. Like I couldn't do it. So it turned into a really heavy cover based shooter for me. Like I always had like one gun out and I was like peeking behind corners and stuff. And um that could be why I was like I developed a habit while I was doing stealth also, just to see who's like behind the corner and stuff. So
Yeah, this
yeah, it's
this game
definitely
can
there
be
for
a lot
whoever
easier
wants to use
too
it.
if you're good at stealth.
What was he
Like you
saying?
can, this game can be a lot easier if you're good at stealth. Like you can skip entire sections, kill commanders, not have to do entire waves.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess I never made a comparison between like action and stealth with this, but I did notice that if I were able to clear a level full through stealth, like I felt like I saved myself a lot of trouble. Um, Especially on these maps where like I see all these like these big set pieces where there's like a lot of places to move around and stuff, and I know it's like a stealth area, and if I'm able to kill the commanders and like everybody else in the room all stealthily, and, like I felt like I just saved myself a lot of pain and heartache.
Yeah, they get a cool little tracker where you can hear the commanders, pick them up on the radio, and find them by the distance.
Yeah,
If you kill the commanders first, then you can go guns blazing and not have to worry about alarms and just kill everyone else. But if those commanders get lured, they call reinforcements. So you have to put some strategy in there as well if
yeah.
you don't want to just kill more people.
From my experience, if they do call alarm, it just notifies the entire area of your presence. I don't know, like it's kind of hard to tell how many more show up rather than who's in the room for me, I
Yeah,
guess. I guess I never took like a tally of who's in the room and how many people come in. So I guess I can't really compare, but I feel like they do call reinforcements or they just notify the entire room. I'm not exactly sure.
yeah. I think all the guns in this game are pretty standard. You got your pistol, shotgun, assault rifle, etc. The laser craft work in this game, I think, really stands out among video game guns, like of the decade type of thing. Like put it up there with like the Half Life gun.
Yeah,
Um, I really
I see
love
that.
like the multi-purpose tool. Like you can, what do you call that? When
Laser
you're
cutter.
laser cutter, yeah, the opposite of welding.
Yeah.
um, you're laser cutting like through metal and stuff to get yourself into vents, stuff like that. But you can also switch it to the laser fire once you find that upgrade, and actually like kill people with it.
Yeah. And you could charge it up and shoot robots in the face and kill them almost instantly.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
really
powerful.
useful. Really useful gun. Um yeah, I didn't figure out until like halfway into, well, I guess like last quarter of the game that you can use your laser cutter to make like small, like really tiny holes in the boxes
Yep.
to actually look in there and grab the stuff. I'm over
Hmm.
here like when I first got it, like because you can use the laser cutter to open up boxes, and there's usually like some ammo or uh, armor or health in there.
Yeah.
And like before, when I first got it, I was like taking out the entire side of the box to for it to come off, and I can access the goodies. But
Yep. You
and
can
then I
pick as
found out
small
like if you
holes
just
you
make a
want.
little hole, you can just look in there and then just grab the stuff out of there. I'm like, oh, that's
Yep.
cool.
I like to pick up the big miniguns that have the laser feature on it, and
Oh,
then
yep.
just shoot the hell out of the side of the boxes.
Yeah. That's I didn't actually know that that could happen until like later on in the game too. So,
You start hiding behind certain things, and then the fucking
yeah,
laser bullets just start
they
coming
just
through.
go right through.
You're like, oh, this is not a safe barrier.
I feel like the enemies get more advanced. Well, okay, that's obvious. The enemies do get more advanced. But like their weaponry gets more advanced as you get through the game. Like I don't know what kind of time span this whole entire game takes place, but it seems like there's like a significant increase in their like their technology from the end of the game to even like the middle of the game.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
So I don't know if it takes place over like a year or something, but even you even go to the moon, and that's when like you really get into laser weapons.
Yeah,
Um,
and it could be just a like distribution to more secure areas as well, like that.
that's true.
Give
Yeah,
the good
because
weapons to those places.
you seem to be getting more into more secure areas the further you get into it. So yeah, that makes total sense.
Yep.
Um,
I do wish they would have hammered more the pre versus post war, or current war versus post war. Like maybe another cutscene or something to like the dystopian ideas that are in there. So I'll get into it when we actually like get into the story. But you start to see that the Nazis during World War II have this advanced technology, and
they do.
then at the end of the prologue, we're 14 years later, and they have a lot more technology. And you hear about the atom bomb that they used on America to win the war, and kind of
Yeah,
switching
six of them.
the roles of history. Six?
Yeah, wasn't it like
Oh,
six? They
I
had like
didn't
a
see
bunch of
that.
them, right?
All I heard was atom bomb. I didn't see any numbers.
Oh, I don't know if I could be making this up. Don't hold me to it. But like I thought, she said they used like six of them on the U.S. And I also
Damn.
find it funny that when she said that the U.S. surrendered, Blazkowicz was so dumbfounded. He's like, "They surrendered? Because like, why would America surrender to anybody?"
Yeah.
Here I am speaking as an American, saying, "Oh, we're so tough, man.
I mean, if
We
we
never
got
surrender
nuked
to
in
anybody."
if we got nuked in the 1930s, I think it would be a much different story.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I don't know because I think it would have been before we like no because Blazkowicz was there. He was American, so we did enter the war.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's very interesting to think about like a alternate history where just one cache of technology completely changed the way of the war because they only found one small cache from the secret organization that we'll talk more about, and that's what changed the direction of the war.
that's
So,
crazy, right? Like, could you
like, what else do
imagine
they
if
have
the
out
Nazis
there?
won the war? Good God.
Yeah, but like I don't know, just the more like I'm just thinking like what else do they have in like the big jackpots of these secret bunkers for the technology? If like this was a small one and it was enough to
Oh,
push them to win the war
yeah, I don't know.
and get them like space technology early and like some pretty advanced shit, I would think. They could
Very
probably do some
advanced.
stuff with that in Wolfenstein 3.
Uh, Most of this game takes place in 1961, and the Nazis are like already occupying the moon.
Yeah, 8 years early.
Yeah, and they got giant robots and all this other shit. Like, I get it's like a fantasy game, but I don't know. It must have been some pretty crazy technology to be making all that, like laser weapons and everything.
Yeah.
And they also had like because they discovered that secret organization or whatever, it was like down in the depths. It was like
Yep.
a, was it like an ancient organized or ancient civilization?
No, they're just an organization of scholars over the years
Oh,
that like create stuff in secret and
'cause we
just hide it
went
away, I
down
guess.
there and yeah, because we went down there and found that spindly torque thing, and it
Yeah.
was literally it's just like a floating ball that destroys shit. Um, I thought that was kind of weird, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but apparently if that's like just one small invention, like imagine like what like a bunch of that stuff could do. Like
I,
even if you take away the secret organization, like imagine just a modern day rifle in World War II, like one side having
yeah,
that. Like it would make a huge difference.
absolutely, yeah,
Like lower your
and
jams, more fire efficiency, stuff like that.
yeah, and then with the Nazis taking over the world, it's not like they couldn't afford anything because they are the currency. It's like make this or die. So
Yeah.
it's like there's no concept of money going on in this world anymore. So
Yep.
everybody's doing shit for free labor, and they're just kind of they have all the technology they want. So they just kind of just like self-propelled themselves in that way.
I um I don't know the exact years, so don't quote me on this, but also one of the big changes of this timeline might be that um, Germany maybe never betrayed Russia, and that could have been a big change in the war as well. I don't remember hearing about it in the game, but if their discoveries were before they started fighting Russia, like that could definitely change the outcome of a lot of things.
So the Russia joined in on the Nazis as their fighting force. Is that what you're saying?
It could have been, yeah,
Yeah. If that was the case, that would definitely change the tides.
because I mean, one of Germany's biggest downfalls in history was turning against Russia.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they were a huge enemy to them once that happened.
yep. Yeah. So, with all this said, we both rate the game very highly. The game is pretty amazing overall, even if the story, I think, doesn't. A lot of good concepts, but I think BJ's story himself is a little eh. Like, it's a
It's
little
it's
go America, America
it's
number
go
one stuff.
America, but like he also like I think we're taking it to surface level right now cuz like I think he has some sort of condition or something because I don't think at least in like at least I don't like he's like more of like a poet, even like towards the end of it, like he's always thinking of some like analogy of situation that he's in,
Yeah.
and he's always talking to someone else in his head. He's like, I'm coming to you, Anya, or even in the second one, he's like talking to Caroline, or
Mm.
stuff like that. So like, I don't like he has definitely has a different process of things on the outside exterior. He is like very go American, and he's like
Yeah, he's blonde hair, blue eyed, super big
blonde.
hunk.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like on that on that side, like he's very like
He's a
generic
Texan.
Texan. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then uh you get to hear his inner monologue, and he sounds like I don't know, something about it seems really deep, and I can't really explain how I felt listening to his inner thoughts, but like it seemed like I felt bad for him because there's some times where he would explain his past traumas and like how he's dealing with this in a certain situation,
Hmm.
and like making comparisons. I think uh, it was that sewer level where we were going in with the submarine.
Yeah, and you're swimming
Yeah,
around
he was
talking about all of his past experiences that were bad with water.
right. Um, Other than that, like it is pretty straightforward. But I really did enjoy listening to his inner monologue throughout the game.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of those things that I think I noticed the most on this recent playthrough. I think I was just paying attention more to littler details.
yeah,
Um, so Blazkowicz is a captain, so he's educated,
right.
um, and he's been in the service for quite a while. He's probably seen combat before, and um, I did see him as smarter throughout this playthrough, whereas previous ones, when I was just like, "Oh, fun first-person shooter," I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, this guy's just a big tough guy. He's not a thinker."
he's not a thinker. Yeah, no, I get it. But like he actually like I don't know if he deals with anxiety or not because he doesn't really show it. But we don't really know that, do we? Cuz like he's like always like count to 4 inhale, count to 4 exhale.
I
So he
think
has his own ways of calming himself down. He has strategies.
he probably deals with PTSD or some other mental struggles. The second game gets a lot more into his past. I don't want
Yeah,
to spoil any of that, but it's very good for those who have the chance to play
very
it.
good. Yeah. Um
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all the general notes I have. Unless you have anything else, I think we should delve into the story a bit here.
Yes, I agree with you. And before we do that, we're going to take a quick break.
Yeah, we shall see you soon.
I dream I smell the barbecue. I hear children. A dog. And I see someone. I think I see someone. These things. None of it for me. I'm moved by roaring engines. I'm lone warriors. We come from the night.
Welcome back. Welcome, I should say,
Welcome.
as we are covering the BJ Blazkowicz story here today. Um, yeah, so we're back with Wolfenstein. We play this game as the American soldier, Captain BJ Blazkowicz, our hunky Texas dude that we
Hmm?
spoke of before. The game takes place during like an alternate history event or history timeline of World War II, where the Nazis somehow advanced faster than everyone else and they won the war. We initially start off the game fighting through Death's Head's compound to kill him. He's an evil Nazi general, and some events happen. We can wake up 14 years later to see that the Nazis won the war, and now we're fighting for the resistance.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we find the resistance. We find out that the resistance is being held um in a prison in Berlin. Was it called Eisenhold?
Yeah, Eisenwald.
Um yeah. But I mean the first two chapters of the game, or I guess the whole first chapter could be summarized as like fighting through trenches and stuff, and it was fun. You
It's a
use
very
like a whole different set of weapons in this. Like you have like actual like little more advanced than World War II. Actually, definitely more advanced than World War II weapons. Because you're using the Nazi weapons, but the
yeah.
whole set of it is like a sci-fi World War II kind of thing, which is really fun. So there's like lightning striking everywhere because there's giant robots going over the trenches. There's like panzer panzer hounds,
Yeah.
which are these big mechanical dogs that run around and eat people. Um, which, when you really think about it, like these Nazis, like they just create all kinds of war machines that just do the most heinous shit. It's kind of insane.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure if we got to look through some German households, we'd see some like cool Uber toaster or something like that.
yeah, Uber toaster, I love it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they have very advanced technology. The first chapter is basically giving you a tutorial of the game. Yeah, it was cool. But after that, you get to
Yeah, actually, we should dive into chapter one here a bit because I think chapter one has some of the most cool details about the story
it.
as a whole.
Yeah, it does.
We
You have
we
some
kind of
stealth opportunities within it too. I didn't really do that because like I was kind of like I was still kind of gauging on like what the hell is going on and stuff. So, I mean, you have some opportunities there, but you're not really well equipped for it anyways. So, if you wanted to attempt stealth in these some of these areas, you could, but yeah.
yeah, they didn't give you the full capabilities yet for it.
Yeah, exactly.
We kind of start off in our bomber. I don't know if it's a bomber or just a transport ship, but we're in our aircraft with Fergus,
Yep.
and you kind of wake up there. We're having one of our dreams, as BJ often does, and we're immediately into gunfire. I don't know why Fergus was even letting him sleep. If it was just a long
Yeah, why was he sleeping?
flight. But we are getting right in the gunfight with the Nazi um, planes and anti-air also firing at us, and so we have to quickly do some stuff in the plane to save us from going down. Only for us to man the gun for a little while and have our first "How did we survive this?" moment, where a plane crashes right into our plane.
Yeah.
And
He he sends us back to do fix the fuel room, or yeah, fix the fuel line or whatever. Yeah, and then lo and behold, like every action scene ever, we crash the plane. Uh and then we wake up on the
yeah,
beach of, I'm guessing, I don't know where it is, but I want to say
we didn't crash
Normandy.
our plane.
Huh?
We didn't crash our plane. We get some cool action set pieces of us boarding another plane.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Private Wyatt was flying the other plane, and then we jumped over to the other plane to hop into that one. And then once we wake up, there's we basically end up on a beach and we're getting fired upon, basically on the edge of Death's Head's compound. And yeah, after this is like
Very
where you
Normandy.
basically have to figure out how to get into the compound, fighting through trenches and stuff. It's really fun, really fast paced, a lot of warfare going on.
Yeah, I like this portion. We're trying to play a little bit of cat and mouse with one of the Panzerhunds, and we're going through the water and through some other ships, and eventually we get to one of the anti-air turrets to actually
Yep.
kill this thing.
One thing
We
was
don't.
is like there's like two anti-air turrets. There's a first one where you gotta kill the pilot and that's all you gotta do. Can't really do anything with shooting it. But I
I'm talking
didn't
about
know
still
this.
on the beach.
Oh, you're still on the beach. That's an anti-air gun?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one we use to. Or sorry, not anti-air. It's probably one of the down
Well, I
ships.
guess it is anti-air because it's on a plane. But you kind of use
That's
it
true.
to shoot
That's
one
very
of the
true.
Panzer hounds that are running at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get to meet like our whole crew at the start here, which we're not gonna remember any of their names because only one of them is gonna make it.
Yep.
But yeah, we meet Wyatt and we meet back up with Fergus and some of our other crew, and for some reason, Sergeant Fergus is giving Captain Blazkowicz commands.
Yeah,
He's telling him what to do, and I'm like, I don't know if that's how that works.
but yeah,
I'm
for the
supposed
sake
to
of it being a game, you got to be
part of
told
their
what to do,
friendship.
and I get it. But like, yeah, in a real world, like he would not be giving commands, and it doesn't
Yeah,
seem like. But like, also we gotta like consider like how much combat experience Fergus has compared to Blazkowicz. I'm not
true,
saying
but
one has more than the other, but like I know there's like a thing within ranks that if a sergeant has more combat experience than the captain, then the cap or the sergeant's gonna you know not give orders. I mean, technically Fergus was giving orders, but give more advice than
yeah, I guess my problem isn't with Fergus like giving orders himself, but he's telling Blazkowicz to go rush a bunker. Like,
right.
hey, Captain, go do this super dangerous thing. Not, like any of the 5 privates that are in our group.
Yeah, that's true. I think he chose Blazkowicz because I think he knows he's capable.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, as we'll see, most of these other guys are just fucking cannon fodder.
Pretty much, yeah. Um, pretty much,
Dude,
yeah. They pretty much all die, and then Blazkowicz is like, I don't know. If you had this guy on your team, like, wouldn't you just send him to do everything? Like the guy runs around with 2 assault rifles and just murders everything.
yeah, I mean, I do have guys down here that I could definitely see being like BJ, super
Yeah,
buff dudes, and they would just fuck up some Nazis.
exactly. I would, if I were Fergus, I would do the same thing. If I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, like I get it from a logic perspective of like who's most capable. Just from the rank perspective, I was like, that's a little weird
Yeah,
because Fergus
that is a
continues
little
to do
weird.
it through the
He
rest of the game
does.
if you
He
save him.
does. He tells us everything, and I'm all for it too. Like he really knows what he's doing, and I'm like the way he tells me how to do it. Like it seems really convincing. So like, I'm just gonna listen to this guy. Very
This guy knows
commanding
what he's
attitude.
very old.
He is
Um,
very old too.
yeah, so we're kind of like storming Death's Head's compound, taking out some anti-air, having some fun times in the bunkers,
Yeah,
uh, and what do you call those? The tunnels,
tunnels
trenches.
and
Yeah,
trenches. Yeah.
I like trench warfare in games. I think it's very fun. It's very close countered, um,
Yep.
very good combat.
I remember doing a lot of it in Battlefield 5 when I was playing that, and yeah, I have the same opinion. It's a good experience. Um, do you remember World at War?
Medal
Call
of
of
Honor.
Duty? World at War.
Oh, the Call of Duty one. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Wasn't very much trench warfare in that one, surprisingly, but it still had a lot of the World War II aspects of it.
There was
I think
one I
yeah,
played growing up that was really good. I think it was a Medal of Honor game, like Medal of Honor 1 or 2, and you like actually do Normandy and you're
really.
storming the beaches, and I'm sure it's way different than I actually remember because I was a kid playing it on PS2. But
Yeah.
like I was like, this is amazing. Like there's all the caltrops, like those metal like asterisks in the sand.
Yep.
Um, and like there's bomb craters, and like you're just running up the beach trying not to get blown up, and you're cutting through like wire once you get there. Like I remember that game being so in depth. It's probably what inspired my love for like World War history and these kind of games.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I am aware that like the Battle of Normandy, I mean, D-Day is like an age-old testament to World War II, especially for Americans. I mean, any game we're going to make, we're going to have D-Day in it cuz I know especially in
Not
Call of Duty World War II. Have you played that one?
Call of Duty World War II. Is that
It's
the
a
that's a
recent
newer
one.
one, right? Yeah,
It's a
yeah, I have.
newer one, yeah.
You're throwing me off
So
going back to World War II.
it's like one of the last games that they had before they updated the engine. I think it was the last game before Modern Warfare 2019.
Yeah, I remember the multiplayer not being great in that when I played it, but I did
It
enjoy the campaign.
The campaign was really fun on that, and I remember playing D-Day on that. The whole adventure you took throughout Normandy and like the whole stealth parts with Paris and stuff was just a lot of fun. Like I don't know if I could ever get enough of like World War II content. I don't know if what that makes me sound like, but like I think World War II is just fucking a fun place to be in a video game. Not actually, don't get me
In
wrong, okay?
Minecraft.
But yeah, it is super fun. And then this game kind of takes that and like puts it in perspective of like a sci-fi spin to it. So it's still a lot
Yeah,
of fun running through these bunkers and the trenches and stuff. You said you spend like the first half, not even half, going through trenches, and then the rest of it you're going through a whole bunker to get to these AA turrets. And
yeah, very cool bunkers too. Like you can already see that the Nazis have this super concrete that they talk about more in the game.
yeah,
Like just the way these bunkers are built. It's always been like aesthetically nice, and like they're just massive things, and you're just working your way through these, killing tons and tons of guys. Like they're just
tons.
full of people.
Especially when you get to the turrets that you can detach from the turrets or the
Yeah,
mounts and just run around with those, and you get to do that quite a few times in this game, and I always love the opportunity to do that.
yeah.
um
It's like I had the thought go through my head. It's like how much can we deadlift to be carrying around this turret? Like at
just
least like ODSTs in Halo, you always
yep,
see them and you're like, how can they rip off a turret? When
yep,
like a Spartan always seems like they also like struggle to carry it.
struggle a little bit,
I
yeah.
mean, you see how built BJ is, and you're like, yeah, you could probably carry a turret, but those things aren't fucking light. Like I think even the 249s are like 30, 40 pounds. So this thing's got to be like at least 100, and you're carrying it at hip level and firing it
Yep.
for not a short amount of time. So
No, he is definitely strong, and I think like while we're playing as him is kind of exaggerated. Like I okay, I have an opinion. So when he's running through and killing Nazis as we're playing as him is a different person than when he is in a cutscene. When a cutscene, he seems like a strong guy, but like normal level. But like when we're playing as
mhm.
him, he just turns into a absolute monster, and he can hold two assault rifles or even two sniper rifles. And why you want to hold two sniper rifles? I mean, why the fuck not? Uh, but like doing all this crazy shit, and then as soon as it cuts to a cutscene, he just seems like a normal ass guy till he gets like stabbed or something. Then it gets kind of crazy. But even then, it's like as we're still playing him, that's when the crazy shit happens. But
Yeah,
I digress. Um, where were we at? There was a cool set piece in this where we're climbing up a wall
yeah,
on
we're scaling the wall.
yeah,
Um,
scaling a wall on a rappel.
yeah, or I think it's a different word for it when you're going up because repels down. I can't remember, but there's a
Uh,
funny moment right before we get here because just before we go up there, we regroup with the guys again.
yeah,
For some reason, we went a different way than them, um, and the mecha dog attacks us again, and
yep.
fucking Fergus throws a grenade and it catches it and blows up the dog. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I see.
Was it
This
programmed
game's
to play fetch with grenades? Like, what the hell
yeah,
happened here? When they
mechanized.
designed this big this robot dog thing, did it, where in the programming did it say grab this if I throw it? I don't know. It could
Yeah.
be. It really could be. And then like Fergus knew that. He was like, I don't know what they would catch in their mouth that would be useful to anything. But
I my biggest theory with it is that, as we see later, the Nazis, especially Death's Head, loves to use brains in his machines. Like
oh
almost all his Uber soldiers are brains. So maybe it's a dog brain.
yeah, it's an actual
He
dog
just
brain. You
doesn't
know
know.
what? I could believe that. Yeah, that's totally possible. Actually,
But I think
that's new. That's my new headcanon. That's exactly what it is.
it's just really fucking funny because we're going through all these um, big combat scenarios and you're just murdering tons of people, and then
Yep.
you play fetch with a dog with a grenade. Just silly.
Fetch. That
And
same Panzerhound almost kills you too. So good thing. Good thing it has a
yeah,
dog brain.
Fergus gives us a whole pep talk before we go up the side of the mountain too, or the side of the castle,
Yep.
and just like what? Why shouldn't that be us as the captain giving the pep talk? Like, I don't know. Are we just a shitbag that we just sit back and I don't know. I guess you gotta let your NCOs do something sometimes, but
That's what I'm saying. Like
come on, BJ.
we're a different person. We're not Blazkowicz anymore when we're playing as him because we don't even
Yeah,
talk at all when we're playing as him. He has
no, he
internal
doesn't. Other than like,
dialogue, but he doesn't
yep,
actually say anything to anybody
yep,
else.
yeah. So I was gonna say too.
So
I was playing through this again. I was like, oh, I didn't realize how quiet he was. Like he only talks
yeah,
in cutscenes. It's very weird.
exactly.
Um, this castle, I think, is a big callback to the original game, Castle Wolfenstein.
Yep.
Um, like just how it's designed and like how some of the corridors are reminds me of the old Wolfenstein. So
I
I thought
think
that
that
was
was
pretty neat.
intentional too. Um, because it really is like kind of. I know what you're talking about too, because like I actually I never actually played Castle Wolfenstein. Actually, I did. Um, back
You have
on
the
a really
opportunity.
old computer, I played Return to Castle Wolfenstein. So I didn't play the original one, but
Yeah,
I did play Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and it did look a lot like this.
you actually have the opportunity within this game. There's a portion where you're at the Resistance hideout, and you can sleep in a bed, and you'll wake up dreaming inside Castle Wolfenstein. So you get
Oh,
to play
yep,
the old game.
yeah.
So
It
I don't know if
seemed
you
just
played that
like
in this
Doom
one.
too, but it was like jarring because you had all the regular weapons that you would in the actual game or this game,
Yeah.
but you're playing it in like
Oh yeah.
a 8-bit
It
world.
was like
So
2D, but you were a 3D
yeah,
person.
you were 3D, but everything else was 2D. And I know there was something like that in Doom also. But yeah, I always love to see it.
Yeah, that is. It's really cool to see like developers pay homage to the older game and like actually show their like love for the series rather than
Yeah,
being just someone who cranks out a game to revitalize the series for money.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I feel like they put a lot of love into this.
Um, yeah, it makes me wonder like how much in relation to they are to ID software
I'm sure
because
being all under Bethesda's banner or under ZeniMax under Bethesda,
yeah.
they're probably like they probably swap workers and stuff. Like you get opportunities to work at other ones. I don't know how that works.
Okay. So they get a lot of inspiration from each other, and they probably like move each other forward. I'm assuming it'd be nice to
I
see
bet
if that's the case, but
they probably have access to like each other's assets and ideas and stuff like that.
yeah,
It's
that's really
a
nice.
very
It's like they're not in competition, but they're more like cooperative.
Yeah, it's a very interesting new umbrella now with Microsoft owning them. So
Yep.
Microsoft bought ZeniMax. ZeniMax owns Bethesda, and then under Bethesda, you got like all these other developers, like id and Machine and a couple others. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I wonder
I'm
how
kind of
that
excited.
relationship works.
I mean, I'm not all about the whole monopoly thing, but like giving these giving these developers an infinite budget is really appealing to me. If they
Yeah,
actually have one, I don't know. I'm sure they have a bigger budget, not infinite, but like yeah, just a bigger budget for better games. I am really excited to see where it goes.
I mean Redfall hasn't come out yet, so I can't speak if it's good or not yet. But I'm really happy that the Arcane has been getting the opportunity to do more games
Yep.
after Dishonored. Um,
Yeah,
Pretty sure that's, I could be speaking wrong. I think that's the same people.
it
Um,
is. Arcane, they did Prey and they did
yes,
um
yeah, and they did
they
Dishonored and
yeah, Dishonored and
now Redfall, which I'm very excited for.
Redfall. Yeah, it's like about vampires and shit, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's like a Back for Blood, Left 4 Dead style, but it's with like vampires.
Okay.
So I'm excited for it. I like those kind of games. Um, yeah, I
Yeah, they
think
also did Deathloop.
Microsoft has really shown that they're not doing a typical monopoly where they're just quartering the market. Like everything on Bethesda or ZeniMax's thing is still available across all platforms, except it's just more accessible for those under Microsoft's banner. And you get it for cheaper in Game Pass or whatever the situation may be, um, and their games get more funding, so it's good all around. I dig it. So after Fergus's wonderful pep talk, we get a cutscene of where we start working our way up the castle walls and get to work our way into Death's Head compound.
Yep.
For some reason, we're going up here alone again, or we're not going up the side alone. But once we get in, we're the only one there, and we have to work our way to open the main gate for everyone else to get back in. Once we do
Yeah.
that, we meet back up with them later and look for Death's Head again until we find this science project room.
Yeah, so in this room there's a bunch of people like laid out on they're like on these
Little operating tables.
operating tables, but they're hooked up to these machines where their back like skin is like spread apart and there's like a bunch of arms like sticking into them, and these people are very malnourished
Yeah,
too. So we get the
he's not
idea that
German. He's just Nordic. Spread eagle
yeah, spread eagle.
or
This is
the
a
blood
blood
eagle.
eagle. Spread eagle's completely
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
uh,
we talked about that one before.
yeah, we did. But yeah, so get the pretty good idea that Death's Head is pretty cruel in his experiments, and I don't really know what he's trying to achieve here with his experiments, but they're pretty cruel.
I mean, he's a Nazi scientist. That's all you really need
He's
to
trying
know.
to make
Nazi
super soldiers.
general scientist. Um, BJ has a history with Death's Head as well. We don't really get into that in this game, and I don't think it covered it in Old Blood. So I hope maybe we get like more of that in the future
Hopefully,
of their history together.
they do like to
Why
do
he hated him so much.
flashbacks. I guess my head canon is that Blazkowicz like dissociates a lot, so he probably doesn't remember a lot of things until he's like reminded of something, and then we'll have a flashback. Um,
Yeah,
so
and
maybe it's like repressed trauma that
part of the,
he's currently experiencing.
part of the thing is that I think this game isn't only told from his perspective, but is like actively being told by BJ.
Yeah.
So I think his head injury like probably makes details a little bit blurry. So
Yeah. That could be
yeah,
why we were
so
so
we
badass too. Maybe he's just like he has like a super ego that he just thinks he's doing all this stuff, but he
himself up.
actually isn't. Who knows?
Yeah, so we're in this room, and this is always one of the scenes I think of most when I think of Wolfenstein. We're trying to figure out a way out of this room, and Wyatt, as the fuck up he is throughout the game, um, or depends. We'll see.
Yeah.
Uh, accidentally triggers the incinerator for the room, so we escape, only to be inside another trap room. That freaking what are they called? The Uber Soldat pops out of the bottom and like crushes the head of one of our guys.
Yep.
Such a like badass scene if it wasn't for like one of our guys getting killed. Like a good horror element for this area.
Yeah.
He just fucking crushes him, and then we get our first experience killing them.
Yeah. The super
Um,
soldat.
and that's when Death's Head stares at us from the room we just left and activates the crusher walls.
Yeah, the rooms start. What? Like, I want to know what the fuck the point of all that was. It's like when somebody designed this room, what makes them think that was a good idea? But, anyways,
Yes, and off the main wing, I want one of those crusher rooms, where the
yeah.
walls come
You
in.
ever seen?
But one wall only goes halfway, and then the other wall goes halfway,
You ever seen
and then it's only enough
Star
to make them
Wars?
pass
Yeah, I want to like that. I want a
the
room
garbage
designed
crusher.
just like that. Just in case for this same scenario. But
Yeah, this one needs incinerators. This one is a spike room.
yeah. I want to know what kind of
Just
drugs
wacky
he's
German
on.
science shit.
Just bees when he's designing these fucking rooms, man. Uh,
So somehow the crushing of the room only knocks us out, and then we wake back up in the incineration room.
yeah,
And Death's Head gives us a wonderful choice as he monologues.
yeah.
We have to choose to kill either Wyatt or Fergus.
So
This is always one that like I had to think about really hard before making the decision, not just because of a moral choice, but because they flip how it works. He says you choose the one you want to die, instead of usually in video games it's choose who you want to save.
yep. And that's like
Um,
such a harder decision to make too. It just adds that much more,
yeah,
like, because you can't really use your morality in this situation because like you're choosing someone you're gonna choose someone who's gonna die, and I think that's like the craziest spin on every choice I've ever made in a game.
it is really interesting, and it's like you're choosing between this lifelong military friend who's an older guy, or you're choosing between this young private.
Who has
Um,
so much like life left.
yeah, like very intelligent, very young kid, and like how do you choose? Like you choose someone who has more life left to live, or you choose the person who's your friend.
Right, and it's a very tough decision too. And my first playthrough, I chose I chose Fergus to die because I felt like Wyatt was like he was too young to die, and I understood that. And then I felt like Fergus like had that mindset of like because he cared so much about Wyatt too. Like I felt like that's what he would have wanted too. So that's what I did for my
Yeah,
first playthrough, and then second playthrough I chose Wyatt to die just so I could see Fergus's playthrough, and they both have they have different instances on like how they operate it throughout the game too. I don't know if you knew that.
I I wish there was more though. Like it's like one picks locks
Yep,
and one hardwires things.
exactly.
But I wish like that was more of a thing. I don't recall it like being that often that you
It's
come up on these things.
it's
It
really
doesn't
not
make a
that often.
difference.
I think after chapter 5, you don't really it doesn't really change anything after that. Um but I'm not exactly sure. I only played a little bit of from what I remember of Wyatt's playthrough. I don't think it was that much different, and I also didn't really complete the game, so I can't make a full comparison. But this
Yeah,
one I had Fergus's timeline, and that was pretty good. He actually has some regrets for your decision and stuff like that. He was pissed off at you, and pretty sure from what I remember,
I
Wyatt like was grateful for it for your decision or whatever, but he still felt bad. But
yeah, I did Fergus this playthrough as well, just because White's my man.
yeah,
Like I think in every other playthrough I've always chose him.
yeah,
Um, I like Fergus, but he's kind of an asshole through most of the
he
game.
is.
I haven't played through Wolfenstein 2 with him. I carried over Wyatt as my guy for Wolfenstein 2, so I only know what his story ends up turning out to be.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty satisfied with how Wyatt is, so he ends up becoming like a close friend to you, and like you said, he is grateful for you saving his life, and um is like sad about Fergus and stuff. But I mean, he's got a lot to live for, and he does good
that's
things.
true. I think he tries to
Just
make it worth
Fergus
it.
remains.
Make it worth your, um, you know, since you granted
Yeah.
him life. I think he tries to make it worth it. I guess if that makes sense. Like he tries to prove his worth. I guess,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
Fergus already
Fergus
has
remains
his worth
pretty
because he
upset about it.
basically just tells you what to do throughout the whole thing, anyways. And yeah, he's the know-how
Yeah.
guy.
And he could redeem himself in the second. I can't say for sure, but throughout the entire of this game, he's pretty much like, it should have been me who died.
Yeah,
So I think he's still like wrestling with that.
yeah. He cared a lot about Wyatt, and it's I guess the Fergus timeline is more of like a dystopian, like sad thing about him, but he still tries his best, and it's just like it's tough, man. Like I can't tell you who is like the better way to go, but I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, there's no right answer really. Like you're choosing between two people. That yeah.
It's an
Um,
impossible decision, but
we don't get many details about this experiment right here. Um, but as we get to the end of the game, we get to see like an actual cutscene of what happened to Wyatt. We'll just keep saying Wyatt is we both chose Fergus for this playthrough.
yeah,
Um, and it's pretty gruesome, like the
it
procedure.
is, and
Like actually watching it,
it's pretty horrible.
a little thwomp of him sucking his brain out at the end,
Yeah. Ugh.
with a little tube.
That's I out of all things I thought he was gonna do, that was like the last thing I expected him to do. If I'm gonna be honest, like that's just so crazy. Sucking his brain out with a
Yeah,
fucking vacuum cleaner.
basically,
Ugh.
very fancy vacuum cleaner. But yeah,
But after all,
so he kills Wyatt.
yeah. So
We,
he
we
kills Wyatt. We know that. It cuts to Blazkowicz like zooming in on his face, saying that this is some horrible shit, and we know it is, but we don't exactly see what he's seeing until later. But so after that, we have to escape the room. So basically, get the window open and jump out, and then on the way out, like there's a shrapnel that gets into Blazkowicz's head as he falls, and
yeah,
he
yes, activate the incinerator again in the room,
yeah he's
and
activated an incinerator, and then
since we
we
jam
jump out and explodes, and then we get shrapnel in our head,
the
and then
yep, since we jammed the pipes, it blew up.
yeah
So Fergus carries the fucking crippled guy out of here because it was just us three left.
yeah
But we don't see him again in the game, so I feel like he hit the rocks on the way down,
he must have or something.
or just couldn't swim because he was crippled.
Yeah,
and that might even be worse.
That sucks.
Um,
We made an attempt to
but
save him
only
though.
Fergus
I
and
don't know
us
what
make
else we could have done.
yeah. We'll see Fergus later in the game again, but we unfortunately were cut up by it, and yeah,
Yeah,
that ends the prologue chapter.
we fall in the
Prologue.
water and then wake up in a hospital like gurney, or it's actually a hospital bed. There's like people operating on us. We don't know who they are, but we're like
Got
in
some
a
pretty badass scars out of it though.
yeah, right. But we're in a wheelchair in a some sort of asylum. Like this is the asylum level, and basically sitting there for however long. There's like this cool little montage of things happening, like beds being moved, beds being made, and stuff. Like the whole cutscene is that. We don't we don't know how long time has went by, but we're just seeing things happening as he's just sitting there in a vegetable state, looking out the window.
Yeah, and he's monologuing a bit, and you can like as it goes through the years of him watching and just sitting there, you can kind of hear him like getting his mental faculties back and like being more aware, and until we come up to the day where BJ has to act or die
Yep.
in the present day.
I thought this was a really
Um,
cool cutscene on how this happened.
I like this.
Yeah.
So Anya and her family run this mental institution, and the Nazis come and do what Nazis do, and they take mental patients for testing.
Mm-hmm.
And one day they decide to come and shut down the facility, and they kill Anya's family and kidnap her. So just as we're about to get uh, Palo silenced, we managed to. Was it our fork? Or
There
was it
was a
like a
knife
knife
on the
next to us?
table there to cut our steak. And we grabbed that.
Oh yes,
Um,
we managed to kill a Nazi, and we're fully back in business somehow.
yep. Yeah. I mean, he said his his legs are like jello, or legs are like jelly, and his fingers feel numb. But he's actually perfectly capable of doing everything. Uh, and he's got
Yeah, they almost
headaches.
should have like maybe had him crawl for a little bit or something.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
we had a
know.
lot of that going on in Wolfenstein 2, but
Yeah,
uh but in
and I
this,
didn't like
like,
it there.
you're
So
just perfectly capable of everything, and you're able to sneak around, and then there's like these little um light, it turns like black and white and stuff, and like flashes. I'm guessing that's like the headaches or whatever that you're getting from being active
oh
again.
yeah,
And so, I mean, that was a cool little immersion effect. But I mean, if you wanted to run through this level and just murder everybody right away, you could. But I actually ran around stealthily through this part. What, like, how'd you go about this?
I definitely did stealth through here. I can't remember. I think you get the silencer right off the bat in the game.
Oh, you do?
It's just if you turn it on or not. It's like on the D-pad.
Oh, I didn't know you.
I don't know if you
I know
use the
you get it
silencer
in like
too much.
chapter 2 or 3, but I didn't know you get it this. Or we are on chapter 2, but I thought you
Might have
got it.
been.
Didn't get it till chapter 3.
You could be right. Either way, I did stealth my way through this, whether it was throwing knives or silencer.
Yep.
So made my way through this level, and it's a really quick level. You work your way outside and save Anya, and you pretty much drive off with her.
Yep.
And she takes us out to her grandparents' farm.
Yeah. And once we get there, there's a knocking coming out from the trunk. We open it up, and then there's a Nazi in there, and
There's a Nazi officer,
Nazi
an
officer.
SS officer, no less.
So what do we do with any Nazi we see? We tie him up in the basement, and then
Yeah,
we let the grandma slap him up a little bit, but after that we put him in the basement, and then
I don't know where this guy had a minute to jump in the trunk. Like judging from like
I
the video game scenes.
I wondered this too. So I actually went back and played this level again. When you first go out the
Yeah.
doors of the asylum and look out the yard, you could see him getting thrown into the trunk, and then the trunk closes before
Oh,
you can even shoot anybody. So it happens really quick, but you can notice it
that
as
is
soon
really
as you
cool.
walk outside.
Um,
So
was he? Is he like getting in trouble then?
he
If he
must
was
have,
thrown in there?
because he was getting thrown in there by other Nazis. So I don't know if he was like a defector or something, but
It's
yeah,
interesting
he was in trouble for
because
something.
he definitely wasn't on our side when we
Nope.
were interrogating him.
Nope. Yeah, so we get to a point where we have to suit up and grab a chainsaw to interrogate this guy. We put on our goggles, our apron. It's gonna get bloody. Um, and
Yeah,
basically
we
try to get
we
him
get
to tell us where the resistance is. And he
we get to have
refuses.
another one of these funny like we survive this or how does BJ keep shrugging this shit off?
Yeah.
Where initially he breaks free from his restraints and stabs us like 8 times with a screwdriver.
Yep. And
And
then
I know the shoulder isn't like a fatal place, but he just fucking knocks him out and
repeatedly
like
punches him in the face as
BJ
we're
just
getting stabbed. Like, holy shit.
he just shrugs this shit off. I don't know how.
Yeah. But yeah, after interrogating him with a big chainsaw, he finally tells us where the resistance is, and he tells us we're in Eisenwald prison, where the resistance is, and
Yep.
then we get some clothes from Anya's grandpa, and he basically, or is it her dad, or is it her parents or grandparents?
No, it's her grandparents.
Okay,
Yeah, her parents were the ones that got killed in
that's right.
the
Yeah,
institute in front of us.
yeah, and he makes a little minor threat to Blazkowicz. He's like, "You
I
take
love
care of
this guy.
her, or I'm
He
gonna
is
find
probably
you
one of my favorite characters in
and I'm
the
gonna
game.
hurt you." And he's like, "I understand." I'm like,
Also, like when he's giving him the clothes, he's like, "It should fit, but you might not look as good as me," or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, he's a good sense
Um,
of humor.
we got to like have dinner with these guys before we interrogated, and they kind of tell us a little bit more. And BJ's like, "What? We surrendered?"
Yep.
That's where they talk about like the atom bomb being dropped on America and um, it being like 1960, 1961 now.
Yeah,
So
so it was 14 years later.
yeah,
He was in a vegetable
I
state for 14 years. That's
God imagine
crazy.
the bed sores. Or I
Yeah,
suppose he probably got rotated often, but jeez.
man.
But yeah, the grandparents come with us because I mean we just killed an SS officer in their basement, so someone's gonna come looking.
Yeah.
Because they know whose family ran the institution, so they come with us. We're gonna head out to Berlin to go find the resistance, and we hide in the trunk while the older couple drives. The first time we actually stop when we come up on a guard post, um, a Nazi finds us in the trunk, and the fucking grandpa blows his head off.
He's-
He's got a fucking
His head
shotgun.
gets blown off, and then he pulls us out. He's like, "You kill Nazis. The road is not safe." And he's like, "I'll stay with the car." I'm like, "All right, man. I like you.
Yeah, I love this guy so
We
much.
wait here." And so basically this whole level is, I think it's like 3 stages of like going in, clearing out the Nazis, and just having the truck drive forward.
Yep.
It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to do this stealth like, um, but it could easily go wrong with, I mean, not wrong, but you could easily go the other way with a whole lot of shooting. But I did pretty much the whole thing stealth pretty easily.
Yeah. We don't end up getting to find out where the grandparents go. All we know is that Anya and BJ get on the train to Berlin at the end of
Yeah.
this level. And we run into two other interesting characters of the game. Uh,
Yeah.
I think I don't know his actual name, Bippy, Buppy, whatever she calls
Uh,
him is her pet names.
Booby.
Booby.
Bubby. It's
Booby.
either Booby or Bubby. It's something like that.
Yeah, and Frau Engel, who is also a Nazi SS officer.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what was her
so
full
we,
title? It was something really long. It had Führer at the end. That was the only the only word I recognized out of the whole title she had.
yeah,
Oben fucking Führer.
uh, yeah, I
I'm
can't
not
remember what
gonna.
her full title is. But she's pretty high ranking.
Yeah.
I would say like only a couple steps under Hitler, if that.
Yeah. So
Um,
she's super high ranking.
Spoilers: Hitler is still alive.
He is.
So
But he doesn't appear in
you don't
this
get to see
game.
him in this game. No.
Yeah. Even though he went to the
Um,
moon, I don't know how many bases they have on the moon, but they must have more than one.
I really like this coffee scene. I know we talked about it a few times before. Um, Even playing through this again, like whatever time this is of me playing it through, I still didn't remember that it was a like there's no effect by which pictures you
Nothing.
take.
It does
Like
not
there,
matter
it
at
doesn't
all.
matter. Like she's just fucking with you.
Yep. But it's still like intense, like every time though,
Yeah,
because like it just seems like it's such a calm setting, and then at any moment, like there's a big ass robot like sitting right next to the table over there too. I don't know why they put just such a huge robot on the on the train too. Because like, how did that thing fit through the door?
personal protection, I guess. If these guys are so high ranking,
Yeah,
um, yeah, they fuck with us a little bit and let us go back to Anya, and we end the mission with one of a few sex scenes in the game. They're pretty graphic.
they are.
Like they're not like up close and personal, but like they show them fucking for a couple minutes.
I like how simple the dialogue is in transition to this because
Oh yeah, there's only one bed.
there's only one bed. Do you mind sharing? And then it just cuts to that. It's just like that was so simple. But then again, like like you don't want to over dramatize it either. Like they both like each other. They already know what the fuck's
Both
going on. Like
been
they're
through a
grown
lot of
ass
shit
adults.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know
man,
what
one
I
of could die.
expected, but I just thought it was a little cheesy. But real life is also cheesy, so you can't really expect anything else.
It gets better when I think there's like two more scenes of it in the game, one or two.
I think there's at
When
least one
they're
more,
fucking in the
but
resistance compound,
yep.
and
She's like, "Do
everyone's
you have
just waiting
time?"
on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, what's up? And they go into the room, and everyone can just hear them fucking.
um so yeah, there's an interesting transition after the sex scene where it just cuts to a hotel in Berlin where
Yeah, it's a
and
really good
she wakes up
transition.
and basically gets up and basically explains to you, that she's going to go distract the guards, and you're sitting right outside the prison. You got to hop onto the truck to get into the prison. Um, Solid plan, if you ask me. Uh,
Indeed,
but
it's one way to get in.
yeah,
It's
so
like
this
you're
is
also
like,
banking on the fact that the Nazis have air vent systems that are easily accessible to the rest of the prison
yeah,
that can fit a human.
I don't know if they accounted for that or they're just kind of winging it on this plan here, but who knows? I think Anya knows more about Nazi infrastructure than we do, honestly. So I think she might have
Yeah,
known, but because she did do the research on the concrete blocks or what the concrete is made out of in the later on in the game, but
yeah,
I
she's
feel like she
really
had some
smart,
idea. Yeah, she might
and
have had some
I don't
idea
think
of like how
it's
it operates or how it works. So I'm gonna go
I
with
don't think
that.
it's her. Was it her sister? I think she later in the game during the swimming section, she gave us some audio logs that you can. It's optional if you want to go listen to them.
Yeah.
From this other girl, and you get to hear her story about like how she fought the Nazis and stuff, like where she was sleeping with them and then like killing them. Um, so I can't remember if that was her sister or not, but yeah, there's a lot of like cool side stories and stuff about other people and their resistance tactics against the Nazis.
Yeah. I listened to a few of them. I didn't listen to all of them because there's so many. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, like they were pretty interesting stories. They were like kind of little diary logs of like what she was going through and stuff. So,
yeah,
but yeah, this is where we're breaking into the Eisenwald prison, and so basically after we hop onto the truck
the
after
prison
a lot
truck.
of like
Yeah,
you know uh, scaling and all that stuff, we go through a whole building because we actually go in to get the laser cutter, and then we get few opportunities to use the laser cutter on some fences and stuff, and then we fight through some Nazis and stuff that were there. And after we climb out a window, we're finally able to get to the wall where we're supposed to, and um, actually climb onto the truck where one of the Nazis were escorting some prisoners onto the truck, and I'm pretty sure one of them was Fergus or Wyatt or whoever you chose. Well, I guess this playthrough it's Fergus, but
yeah. So we get into the prison and work our way to the cells. We find Fergus there. Weirdly enough,
yeah,
not sure why he got sent to Berlin, but yeah, we get to free them and have another fun or our first prison escape of two in the
yeah.
game.
I mean, up to this
And
point, it was all stealth because all you were equipped with was a knife, and you're not even able to get any
yep,
guns because all of the guards have batons and stuff. So you have a cool encounter with like running away from a Panzer Hound, but other than that,
yep,
it's just like pretty generic stealth encounters throughout the whole level.
yeah.
But yeah,
I like this mission and going through them again. They're most of these missions are pretty short and they go pretty quick.
yeah,
We uh we get to the control room and start like a mass escape for the whole prison by letting everyone open and manage to get out of the prison with Fergus and crash our fucking car, go into a sewer, come out another sewer, and then get in our car with Anya and get away. I
yeah.
feel like they didn't plan all that. It was just like,
No, they
fuck
did
it, we
not.
ball.
Well, Fergus, like for some reason, had a very good idea of how where the cameras were, and all that. So I don't know
Well,
if he was like planning an escape
to
this
be
whole time.
fair, their base was pretty close there, so they probably
Oh
know the
yeah, it
cameras
was.
around their base because
Yeah,
it's through a secret waterfall.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And chapter 5 here, nothing really to note. We're around the resistance base now, and we get to meet everyone, and it's kind of
Yep.
this is just like your hub. Like you're gonna be here a couple times throughout the game, and it's just mostly dialogue throughout here. Trying to find a way into London so that we can sabotage some Nazi shit.
Yeah, and there are some side missions that you could do throughout this too. Um, I think one like finding Anne's ring or finding Max's toys, but other than that, it's just finding stuff for people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really. Well, there is one point where you go into the hangar and then you like drop into the sewers and do like a little side thing there. I don't even know if that's a side thing. I think that's part of the main thing.
No, that's for the concrete.
Yeah, that's for the concrete. That's right. Um, other than that, like the side quests aren't really that worth it in my opinion. You can get a little cutscene for each one. Um, talking to
Yeah,
different
just the
characters, a little background.
extra character building helps you get a little
Yeah,
closer to everyone.
character development, and then there's the nap or the place you sleep, and you can go into the 3D Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein 3D.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. But other than that, that's pretty much all the resistance base is.
I really like this next chapter. Once we're done plotting, I can't remember this guy's name, which is sad because he gave his life for the cause. But we're in a car driving with this guy, and he lets us out, and then he fucking floors it into the London Nautica, which is this just massive Nazi building, and pretty much blows up the first few floors, which creates a distraction and a way for us to get in there. So
Yeah,
we get to sneak in
London
there and
Nautica.
then steal some secret Nazi documents, and this is also where we get the like the laser craft work, which is cool. Which is like the full version of the laser cutter because it's got the other portion on it.
Like when we grab the laser craft work, we just kind of throw out the laser cutter. It's like we don't need this anymore, so we just
Yeah,
throw that out.
this is the advanced one, and we get to steal some helicopters here at this base as well for
Yeah,
our resistance.
this level is pretty fun because it's a lot of. This is where we get into like the full swing of things, like full guns blazing and everything. Because I'm pretty sure, we're expected to know how to play by now, so they just kind of like throw a lot of shit at us and um like cool set pieces throughout this too. I remember there's like a moon dome or whatever you have to climb to the
Hmm.
top of. You're climbing up stairs and there's like Nazis shooting at you and you're just fighting your way up it to the top. That part's pretty cool. And a lot of little hallways, people popping up at. Yeah. And then once you get to the airplane or once you get to the hangar, that's when things get really interesting because then you get the big robots to deal with.
Yeah, the robots here, I'd say aren't too bad. It's more just learning how to work with their fighting style and getting
Yeah.
around them. Um,
Yeah, getting around them. That's the main thing. Uh
yeah, need a lot of
yeah, once
firepower.
you get there's a cutscene where you have to not even a cutscene, there's a little part where you have to carry Caroline into the helicopter and then you bring the helicopters back to the base. Yeah, now we got some helicopters to work with. Yeah, I think the next part we're at the base, right?
Yeah, for chapter 7 here, we're once again at our resistance hideout, and we kind of spend this whole chapter just talking. And this is where we also analyze the concrete, and where
Yeah.
Anya is like, "Hey, someone's been poisoning this." Um, so when we find out about the dot, you should, which is the secret organization that like created some of this stuff. So
Yeah,
we have to
it's
go
actually
find
mold.
Sedroth.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
actually they altered the concrete compound to actually like so it would create mold on its own and the mold that's been killing people. So and
yeah.
like the whole
Well,
objective of this like the funny thing is the whole objective of this chapter is to get a circular saw that fell down into the sewer and basically running around down there shooting robots like the little droid things are flying around till you finally get
yeah.
it.
Well, the dot you should created the concrete, but Set, while in prison, has been um, poisoning it with the mold, so that it wouldn't
Oh,
work as
okay. That makes sense.
well. Yeah, so we find some documents, and we kind of find out that, hey, this is probably the guy that's doing it. I mean, Anya's smart; she's just figuring it out somehow.
Yeah.
We find what prison he's located in, and time for us to go break into another prison.
Yeah.
Um,
But this time we
this
don't break into it. We are actually playing as a prisoner.
Yes, we are.
which
And
is
we get
kind of like
our
a like sorry, like I just want to point this out. Like this is like kind of like wild to me how like we put ourselves in this perspective of like as a prisoner going into a death camp
yeah.
where we're coming out of a train car and everything, and there's Freyu there, like smacking people and stuff. Like it's nuts.
Did you say Freyu?
What did I say? Well, what's her name?
Frau.
Frau.
Frau Engel.
Okay,
Uh,
I pronounced it. Okay, I got the general
Frau
idea of it.
is
I didn't butcher it that much. Come on.
Frau is
Okay.
like the German word for like Mrs.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so she's here. She's just kind of fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think she didn't notice us right away, but we get in processed here and get our uh, this might be the wrong word for it, but like the Jew number, like
Yeah.
the number that
No,
the
like
Nazis would like put on your arms in like the
yeah.
Jewish death camps.
Um
We get one of those.
yeah, another crazy thing is that like Freyu, like she like grabbed the baby that one of the prisoners had, like held it upside down, and now like ugh, like, it's like disgusting behavior done by the Nazis. Surprise. But as we're walking in, they did actually notice us. They're like, um, look at this one. He looks familiar. This is like the same people that we found on the train, Bobby and
Yeah,
Freyu. What is it?
Frau Engel.
Frau.
Uh,
Okay.
Frau.
Okay. Frau. Yeah. Bobby and Frau. Gotcha.
I would just say like Engel.
Angle. Yeah. Let's go with that. Angle.
So otherwise you're just saying like Mrs.
Yeah. Let's just go with Angle. Angle Frau.
German's fun.
But yeah, we get the prisoner number, and um then we
And
go
we get
to a little
right
mini
to work
game. Yeah.
here.
Doing a little mini
A little
game
bit
where
of
we're making concrete.
this thing frustrated the hell out of me because
It
the
did.
controls are
Me too.
really weird here. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I was pressing all of them. I'm like, okay, what actually presses the buttons? Is it like LB, RB? Am I leaning a certain direction? I still don't know. Um, I just feel like I haven't pressed enough buttons where eventually he pressed the right thing. You're
It,
we're trying to
I think
jam the
it was
machine
just
here.
up, down, left, or not up, down, left, right, and down for the controls for this machine.
I thought so, but I was like, I don't know, it just wasn't working that well on controller.
Oh.
So it's very
The
weird.
main thing is
Uh,
though, there's a little. We're supposed to break it to distract the guards,
yep.
and so there's a little thing that breaks off, and then we throw a little little piece that falls off of the button, and we threw it in there, and it blows up the whole machine, and so the guards are distracted. We convince one of the other guys that, or I mean, we didn't convince him. We tell him that his wife is in the same cell block that we are in, and so we got to switch suits so we can go into his cell block to get to
Yep.
set. And he agrees, so we're actually able to get into the cell block and talk to set. And he basically tells us how smart he is and how he doesn't want to help us, and um, so we got to go do something for him. Um,
Yeah.
I forgot what we
I
actually have to do
we
for
do
him.
some side quests here where we got to find a battery and um, take down a guard here to turn off the security system. And their fucking security is super lax here for a death
It
camp.
is, yeah.
We managed to get all this done, and on our way out to get the battery, we get shocked by it and pass out. And this is when we like actually get caught by Angle and Booby. Um, and we get set to execution. Kind of ruins our plans a little bit.
Yeah, but
But
things changed because we actually got the battery and everything, and all we gotta do is get it to Set, who is sitting right next to us. And so,
yes,
with the action powers we have, we throw the battery to him, and he puts the battery in. I don't know how he does all this, but like he puts
I
the
I
battery
don't know
in and
either.
starts controlling the machine, and the machine, the big robot thing.
I
Uh,
love this scene, smacking soldiers and throwing them away,
yeah,
and she's just Frau Engel is coming right up to our face and swearing at us, and like pretty much giving us death threats, and the fucking robot crushes her head and throws her.
yeah. Which she should have died, but
She should have.
it's Wolfenstein, so we can't really guarantee any deaths here, no matter how
No,
crazy the death is.
no,
Um,
she's not dead yet, but we get a really cool fucking mech portion here.
oh yeah, this
This
is
is
super
fun.
fun.
Frau Engel returns at the end of this as we escape and
She does.
uh, shoots up at one of our cars as half of her face is hanging off.
You can't escape. No one leaves my camp. And just she has two assault rifles too, and then just starts mowing them down. Ugh, with
Yeah.
their all with their messed up face and everything.
I'm
Ugh,
actually really glad that they didn't make Hitler the main baddie for this one because I
yeah.
really like Engel. I think she's a good villain. She's hateable and
She's very hateable character. So like way
she
different than
works.
the generic Hitler. is is Hitler old
Yeah,
school? Let us know. But yeah,
Hitler's
yeah,
not keeping up with the times.
yeah. So
Faster ways to kill people, man. Come on.
come on, be creative. Let's not do Hitler anymore. Um,
We get back
so
to our HQ once again. We spend a lot of time at this place in our game.
we do.
We kind of talk to Set a lot here, and we get him a welder. Have a quick. This is where we have a quick bang with Anya again, where everyone
Oh yeah.
listens.
She's like, "Do you have
And
time?"
oh yeah, I have time. We get a new submersible made by Set that takes us to a. We're trying to take this to a train station to take a train to get into a missile to go to a sub to steal a sub. It's a whole thing.
It's
Uh,
very crazy plan.
so we get to go through this submersible level, driving through all the or sailing through all the water and stuff, and it's a pretty cool level. I don't really much like water levels, but this one isn't terrible. Um,
Yeah, it's a lot of what you'd expect. I mean, managing the water levels, rising and lowering it, managing pumps and stuff is just something we've all seen before. It's nothing too crazy, but
yep.
it's what you got to do in order to progress. So
We get to the train station at the very end of this level, and we get to hide in a torpedo that's headed to a U-boat to restock it. We have a Nazi defector that helped us get in here, so he agrees to sneak us into it. And then I think this U-boat level is probably maybe my favorite chapter in this game.
yeah,
It's really short, but I really like being on the U-boat. It's fun. It's nice close quarter combat. It's perfect for the shotgun with the ricochet.
oh yep,
Um, and then this game or this level can also be done pretty much entirely stealthily, which is
it
just
could,
awesome.
yeah. Um, yeah, there's definitely some parts where it can't be because I know they sometimes they just know you're there, even if you're stealth.
Yeah,
And like I think that's to encourage like the whole tense situation of like the last part where you got to get the codes or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
This
mean, once you do that, do all that, you get to the buoys where you gotta
Yep.
raise the buoys and then actually get a signal out to Fergus, and so he can actually
Helicopters.
pick you up, or actually, so
Yeah,
they
they
can get
start
onto the
take
U-boat, so they can get down into the bottom
Yep.
or something.
So, so now we have a fucking Nazi U-boat that's capable of shooting nukes and
Yep.
these like 3 helicopters and stuff. So we're Nazis aren't doing too good at like securing their property.
Nah. Well, especially with
Um,
Blazkowicz, it's
yeah,
hard to
and
defend against him.
the U-boat has a submersible as well that helps us get down to the dot. You should um, what do they call it? Like a superstore. I can't remember their secret place full of all the inventions they made. Um, and once we get down there at the bottom of the seafloor, that's where we get the super suit for Catherine and the spindly
Yep.
ball.
The spindly torque. I don't know. It
You
was
know,
something in German, but it's like in English, it's the spindly torque. I'm like, what kind of
yeah.
name is that?
So we dive deep further into the crazy fucking web that this plan is. So we're gonna take the spindly ball. We're gonna crash a train with it. We're gonna take this Nazi guy's passport, go to the moon. We're gonna steal the launch codes, come back to the U-boat, and blow up Death's Head.
This whole thing
It's
sounds
like
like a Fast and Furious plot.
as I was writing this, I was like, wait, what? Like you kind of just play through the game sometimes without even thinking about it, and as you start to like actually write it down and talk about it, you're like, this is fucking insane.
It is. And like you're doing a lot of things that are just fun and cool, which is the whole point of the game, right? But like when you think about the actual writing of it, you're like, what the hell were they on when they were doing this shit?
I
But like we're also in a world where Nazis have like super advanced technology too. So like, you know,
That's true.
I guess like going to the moon is like not something unheard of in this kind of world. So
Yeah. So we take the super suit for Catherine. She's a cripple if we haven't mentioned that. So this suit helps her walk again because it's I don't know, it's fucking god armor.
yeah.
And the spindly ball is really cool. It I don't really know how you like
So
use this accurately. Like
I
you
don't.
just drop it and it fucks up everything.
Yeah. So it basically shoots out a bunch of spikes and like grabs stuff, and then it like spins,
Yeah.
so it just pulls things like away from like it just pulls things out, so it just destroys stuff. And we get to
Yep.
see this here on the next part where we go to the bridge where we got to get the Nazi passport and crash a train. So the train's coming on a bridge, so he's deployed this spindly thing and it grabs the bridge and just completely destroys it. So Fergus's great idea is to drop you off way over here. Well,
Yeah,
apparently
what
it's
the
the
fuck,
safest spot to
Fergus?
drop you off, and yeah, you have
It's
to
not
fight
true
through a
'cause there
bunch
was
of
like
Nazis on this destroyed bridge, which is actually a really fun level. I'm not gonna lie.
there's like one guy actually near the guy with the codes. Fuck you,
Yeah,
Fergus.
and then he
But
picks us up again, and then takes us closer to the like. What, can we stop here first? You know?
like just bring us to the car we need to go to. You know which
Yeah,
car we're
like
going to.
why can't we do that? I am a action hero badass. You could just hover me over the train car and I could just jump down into the train car itself. Like it's not a big
Right.
deal, man.
But though
Or
this level is really fucking
instead of giving the suit to Caroline, you could just give it to me and then I could just jump into the train car and then we're good. No
Yeah,
full
you're
damage.
golden.
Yeah, we're golden, literally. Um,
So yeah, we're kind of traversing a destructed bridge and train cars all over.
yeah,
Um, Pretty fun level though. You
yeah.
kill your way to the correct train car at the end. I
I
really
found
like
myself
fucking
scavenging a lot throughout this level. Like there's just a lot
yeah.
of like slow moments, at least through that first half, where it's just navigating through the destroyed train cars and the bridge and stuff. I was just looting stuff and not as much shooting.
It allowed them to have some cool scenes and stuff, like the one Nazi at the start getting crushed by rock.
Yeah,
Um, some reason there's another Nazi later on that's beating someone else to death. Um, like just interesting vignettes in this one. And just people crushed and like dead bodies everywhere from the train flying and yeah. But we do get to the train car at the very end. It's hanging off the cliff that has our papers we need, and I really like this montage. It is really cool.
yeah,
Pretty
we're
much skips
just
like an
getting
entire
strapped
level
in.
worth. What could have been an entire level worth of stuff. It's like, yeah, you need to shave and get a haircut, and it's like Anya voicing over his plan as he's doing it in the
Yeah,
cutscene.
I think it would have been cool to like do a whole first person thing of like walking in disguised as a Nazi officer and getting onto
Yeah,
the the rocket or whatever. I thought that would be really cool, but
I do wish we had a little bit longer um, on the Nazi base of getting to be in uniform. So
yeah,
we start chapter 13 here in our disguise, and we pretty much almost immediately make our way to the luggage room to get our guns back, and then we change. So I'm like, what?
yeah,
Like, why not just try and keep the disguise as far as we can?
that's what I was thinking too. I was hoping that's why I was like looking for a way to go forward, but everything was locked, and I obviously had to like be some weirdo that climbed into this conveyor belt. Even though everybody saw me, they even mentioned it. They're
Like,
like, "What's the officer
oh,
doing?"
is it the new
It's like, "Oh, I was
scientist?
just doing officer stuff. Don't worry about him."
It's
And
like
I'm like,
he's
"Come
too high
on."
ranking for you to worry about what he's doing.
Yeah. And like once we get in here to grab our gear, like we could have just kept the whole disguise on while also having our weapons. But
Yeah, the 8
instead
weapons sticking out of our pockets.
we had to wear our leather jacket and shit, you know, and just
It's
kill
gonna look
everybody.
cool in his signature little headset.
Yeah. Um I think it would have been cool to have like some sort of like RPG element or some shit. Like even if I had like a choice to like try to get through a disguise check or something. Like if
Mhm.
like another Nazi um soldier
Oh,
tried talking to
another
me, I like had to
like
like
another
accurately
game, like
lie to them.
another thing like the train thing where you like have to choose one thing or another.
Yeah, exactly. But like this actually would have a consequence. But then that wouldn't make any sense either because then they would have to have like two pathways for the level or something. But I
Well,
don't
you
know.
have one
It,
pathway
it's
where you
it's an
shoot your way
idea.
through and one where they let you through.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That could have been a cool outcome, but kind of different
Yeah.
from their whole philosophy of this game. But
Yeah. We do get to go for a nice spacewalk while we're out here. And for some reason we take a second to cut off our Nazi tattoo or our number tattoo that we got in
yeah, that
prison.
was that was a little weird.
I was stuck here for like 5 minutes because I'm like, I there, all the doors are locked. Where do I go next?
Yeah,
And then you had to like go click on this box to watch a cutscene of you cutting your skin off. I was like,
yeah,
okay, that's gonna get infected, BJ.
an entire slab of skin he just tore off. I was
Yeah,
really grossed out by that. I was like,
you'd have to go pretty
this
deep.
guy's a maniac, man. He's
He
out.
doesn't
He
care.
just like he hates it so much that he's just gonna be like tearing a whole like he tore out some muscle, I'm sure too. Like that shit was deep.
Yeah, I
Um
mean, it's a tattoo. It's probably going through most of your skin. You probably
and
cut it all the
plus
way to the muscle.
yeah, and plus you have like some like major ligaments there that operate your hand. So like you can't really dig that deep into your arm without actually messing up your motor skills for your
Yeah.
hand.
And he's
So
right-handed, so
yeah, and he's right-handed. So this is wild, man.
yeah. Or yeah, the tattoo was on his right hand. Yeah, so or his right arm. So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
gonna fuck up shooting, but it does not.
it does not.
We we get to the main room, like I'm just amazed at the lack of Nazi security overall. Like we did kill a lot of people, and we are on the moon, but we just go to this like printer and like printed off some new codes.
It's so simple. I was expecting there was gonna be a bunch of dudes in this last room, and so I snuck in
Yeah.
there, and then I walked in, and there's like nobody in there. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this right
Yep.
here.
The big oval office room.
Yeah,
I I do really like this space tram. Um, I thought I broke the game at first. So we kill these two mechs out here in like the space transport thing, and then I jumped back into the ship where they came from, and I thought I
yep,
wasn't supposed to go in there, but then that is actually where you're supposed to go. You get a little cutscene of you sneaking aboard, and the transport guy saying like, "Hey, I left him behind. He's probably dead."
Hmm.
Like, bro, you see your fucking mechs get taken down out there.
right,
So of course we kill him, and he gets to scream on the mic before he
yeah.
dies.
He's on the ship. He's inside the ship. Save me.
But
Yeah, we kill him. Crash back down in Berlin, getting
yep,
shot at by a bunch of dudes, and can't really do much right now. But
yeah, we're
uh,
just in a fucking transport pod. We get shot out of the
yeah,
air.
um, but I mean, it translates into this cool little cutscene where you like jump out the back as it crashes down, and then swing into a building and stab a guy, and then you're just fighting through another building.
Well,
It's really
you
cool.
did that first guy. You don't even stab him. You just fucking crushed his head into concrete with the amount of
Yeah,
force you gave.
yeah, you do.
You're like a
That's right.
250-pound man swinging into a window at him.
Flying into the window out of nowhere. That guy did not see that coming. That's
No,
the
it was
last thing he
very
expected.
soft landing for BJ, but not for that guy.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
I like these sections. The game all feels like it's in one little area here. This last section,
Yeah.
because we're kind of fighting our way through this building, trying to make our way out of here, fighting some like helos and stuff as they're shooting us. And then we get the London Monitor boss battle at the end here.
Yeah. London Monitor. This was the pretty straightforward and lame boss fight that I was talking about before. Um, so he has a few different attacks. So he either shoots you with a laser, or he um, has like an AOE thing right below him, and
Yeah,
he shoots a bunch of fire, and then
I didn't like
he
that.
has rockets, which are the main thing. If you shoot all the rockets, then he's dead. Uh, yeah, not much more than that. If you shoot all the rockets before they shoot at you, when he opens them up, then you pretty much got him.
I did like the laser because he was actually destroying parts of the map and made less areas to hide. But he didn't use it much, or at least you're easy to be quicker than him to disable it. But the fire was fucking annoying. I kept trying to run up under there, and he kept walking away. And by the time I would get right under him, it would be closed.
Yeah, yeah, that was the main thing. Is like I had to make sure that when I shot him in the eye, I had to be pretty much close to him or
Yep.
right below him. I pretty much strategized it to where I would be in the trenches, like right where he was standing. So, because I mean, he could still shoot you with his eye, like right as you're
Like,
below him. So you could shoot
yep.
his eye like right below him, and then just shoot his bottom, and then
Yeah, not a like not terrible boss battle. It's just a little I don't know, cut and dry
underwhelming.
first person shooter.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
underwhelming. That's a good. I would like to be sufficiently whelmed.
yeah. That is a minimum. But after that, we get picked up by
But Klaus,
Klaus,
former Nazi
and
Klaus.
we're driving back to the base, which is getting taken over by Nazis and getting destroyed. And we crash at the front door,
Yep,
and there's Nazis that are surrounding us, and Klaus gets shot, and then Max Haas comes up and
Max Haas.
kills all the Nazis.
I
Um,
I didn't remember if Klaus survived or not, so I was like surprised seeing him get shot the fuck up there.
he did not. He did
He took a few
survive up
rounds
until we got him to the helicopter, and then he died on the
somehow.
helicopter.
Took like 40
Somehow,
rounds.
yeah. He took so many rounds to the chest. I don't know how he survived that long.
Uh,
But
yeah,
yeah,
we managed to work our way into the base though, and pretty much everyone's gone except Fergus, Caroline, us, and then Max Haas.
yeah, there was that one lady. I forgot her name.
I
She's
Yeah,
really nerdy with numbers, and she like calculated the whole thing. She's like, yeah, I killed 19 soldiers. I forgot her name though.
yeah, I kind of like that though. She's like, to win the war, like each resistance person has to kill 19 each,
Yeah,
and she's
and
like,
she
I've only
already
got like
killed
this many to
11. She
go.
already has like a whole like pile of bodies stacked up, but she basically says like, go on without me, and it was kind of sad, but
Yeah, she only got two more.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, this game, like that's what I meant. Like this game has so many like side stories that like really show like what would be cool of like a war in the worlds type of thing of like the Nazis running the world and everything just being shit. Um, and then you have like the funnier storyline, which is like anything BJ's involved with.
right? Yeah, he is the comedic relief, or anybody he's involved with.
Yeah, the we do still have our helicopter out of here for some reason. That's not one of the first things they went to destroy. So the four of us get out of here, and yeah, Klaus dies on the flight on the way over to the U boat.
Yeah,
Very
and
sad indeed. Our
after
last
that, we
level.
have a little cutscene of Blazkowicz dreaming of his American dream with Anya cooking on the grill, and he's just chilling. And there's two kids running around in his backyard of his house. Uh, but sadly, that's not the reality. We cut back to being on a U-boat, uh, where we uh, where we have to climb into a. We have to go. We're going back to Death's Head's compound now. So basically, we got
Yeah,
to fire the spindly hook to take out the whole side of it, so we can get in.
yeah, because that's where they brought Anya on set and everyone else.
Yep.
Um, when they captured him. What I gotta say is like, how are four of us manning an entire U boat? Unless we left people behind on the U boat that didn't get captured. But
Would a
I mean, it's a
U-boat
big
be
ship.
that complicated to operate? Like, I don't know.
I
Honestly,
mean, you see how many people we killed on the way to capture it.
that's true.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more than just a one or two person job.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do get to take our water walking suit to like shoot the anti air gun, which is pretty cool scene. I like
Yeah.
this.
I like that too. Um,
We
yeah.
we get to hop in and shoot one right at the side of Death's Head compound. Um, we're lucky our friends weren't being held on that side, I
Yeah,
guess, because it puts a pretty big fucking hole in the side.
yeah. Well, it took out the whole side of the building. It seemed like the entire
Yeah.
side. But then again, I guess I didn't really get a good look at it before climbing in to do the work. But yeah, that said, Deathhead's compound is actually pretty fun because like at this point you're super good at the game and you know what you're doing, you're well equipped, you got all your perks, and now you just kind of reign free, and it's a lot of shooting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big enemies in this level too. For it being the last level, it's definitely a shit ton of super soldiers and big robots, and yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. It's a big winding up to the final boss battle.
Yep,
Death's Head himself. God, he's got to have the most complicated name. At least we're not
Death's
saying it
Head.
in German, which has got to be probably worse.
Yeah.
As
Well,
Germans love their really long fucking words.
they do. Well, was it Death's Head in German? Is Totenkampf? Kompt?
Totenkampf.
Yeah. Komp Kopf. Totenkampf. But uh before we get to Death's Head, we run into Bobby,
Bobby!
or whatever
Booby.
his name is, with the stupid mustache.
Come on, Bobby. I hate that fucking mustache.
Yeah, you don't even see it until you're close to him. That's how fucking stupid it is.
He's such a
Um,
creep.
he is.
But he fucking injects us with a horse trank and wants to kill us in front of Engel over Skype or whatever they use in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
It does not work.
Um, it does not work. Even though we get stabbed with seemingly right in the heart, we kind of shrug it off and use that same knife to stab him in the head.
Yep.
And boy, does it feel
She
great
gets to
after
watch
biting his ear off,
the other boy.
nonetheless.
Yeah. Ugh. um he was like, "Wait, how are you still moving? I gave you enough to like tranquilize an elephant."
Yeah.
He's like, "There must be something really wrong with your head." So I'm wondering if that's like a hint of like, is that their excuse they're going with? Is, hey, we got metal in our brains, so we're immune to tranquilizers. But I don't think that's how that works. I'm not a doctor, but I
You
don't
know
know.
what? That you could go with that, sure. I
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the head canon. Now we got head metal in our brains, so we're kind of immune to horse tranquilizers, and anything else, pretty much.
That's the last time we see Engel is after she logs off the video. We don't see
Yeah.
her again till the second game. Yeah, we get to limp through the base a little bit, or super drowsy from the horse tranquilizer, but not out.
Yeah.
And Anya and crew have freed themselves already, so
Yep.
we didn't need to come save them.
Yeah. And
They
then
get us into the elevator.
yeah, the elevator, having some troubles with the elevators, or the elevator. So basically, we dropped them off on that floor, and then of course, before Blazkowicz gets out, the whole elevator just drops, and then it's like, okay, we're alone again.
Yep,
And
of course.
once we get to the
And
bottom, we run into Death's Head.
the other way around. He brings us all the way to the top.
Oh, the top. Yeah, that's right.
Tippy tip top. Yeah, because Death's Head was probably watching, and that's what I'm going to use as my canon as well. Is that was intentional, not just a plot
Yeah,
convenience that he just wanted us. But
because he was clearly expecting us when we got to him. So
yeah, he's fucking smiling at us through glass again.
his
Like,
creepy smile.
this motherfucker.
I want to
Um,
know what happened to his face.
that's where I think a good prequel would show us some stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if
Uh,
that original Wolfenstein that came out in 2009. I don't know if that
Mhm.
has anything to do with this.
Oh shit, yeah, that could be.
Because I never played through the whole thing, but I watched a little bit of it and it looked cool and I wanted to play it, but never actually
Huh.
played it.
I'll have
So
to
it
watch
could have some relation to it.
like a Wolfenstein timeline video.
Yeah, we'll have to
We
see someone else explain it.
we get to watch as Death's Head taunts us a bit through the glass. He shows us Wyatt's brain, and this is where we get to see the more gruesome version of the cutscene that we missed earlier
Yeah,
of Wyatt being extracted.
his brain gets extracted from. It gets put into a jar, and then this jar gets put into a giant robot, and then it just starts operating.
Now we have to
Uh,
fight Wyatt.
yeah, we're not going to talk about the science behind this, but that's the the robot works now. So
Which,
the
yeah,
robot
I
is now
mean,
Wyatt, and we have to fight Wyatt.
narratively, it's cool though. I guess
It is.
like getting to reunite with our old friend and fight him,
Yeah,
because he's still conscious and like doesn't want to do this, but like the robot actions are like making him.
he's programmed to do so, so he can't really help himself. But
Yeah,
him
it was
being
a
wait, wouldn't the whole point of using an actual brain for a robot, wouldn't that the use of that being like more AI, not AI, but more intelligent for, what I mean? So more autonomous.
Mhm.
That would be my
I
guess,
I'm sure they put restrictions on just because of whose brain you put in. I don't
I
know
suppose.
because he also like said now like kill him, so I wonder if it's like also voice commanded from Death's Head.
Maybe.
But again, like don't look in this game at this game from a science perspective or medical.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, don't think about it too much. Just
Enjoy
enjoy
the
the shooting.
craziness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
Wyatt's pretty easy to defeat. And he kind of asks us to dispose of him and break his brain jar. And
yeah.
then we get the real boss battle, which is Death's Head in a mech. It's another
Yeah.
mech.
Yeah. If you don't know what to do at this part, it could be a pain in the ass. Um, but fortunately, we did know what to do at this part, so it wasn't that bad. But the thing is, like, trying to find some cover that could actually protect you is the main thing, and then getting an opportunity to shoot him. But in this
Yeah,
next part,
I
I died a few times.
not the biggest fan of this boss battle. You gotta disable those zeppelins and then it shocks him and
Yeah.
blows him down to the next level. And this is where you actually get to shoot him because before he was protected by a shield.
Yeah.
You pretty much use all the ammo in every single one of your guns that you have here.
That's all it is, man. You're running around trying to survive, getting shot at,
So much fire.
shooting at him, dodging all the fire, and it's just long. It's just very long of doing the same thing over and over again. For me, I was using the laser craft work and just shooting him
Hmm.
with the charged laser, going to get some more charge on it, and then going to get some more. Just doing that over and over, just trying to avoid getting shot. I couldn't really find a more
Yeah,
efficient
well,
way to kill him.
overall, I don't think it's a terrible boss battle. Like other than dodging the fire, it's not terribly difficult. Um, we disable his mech at the end though, and get to pull out a knife. We want to go finish him up close and personal, but Death's Head has a different path for this encounter to go.
Yeah. Yeah, he pulls out a grenade and holds it like 2 inches away from our face. I'm exaggerating, but he holds it pretty
Not
damn
far
close
off.
to us. And I'm like, okay, this is it. There's no way we can survive this. And he blows us up, both of us.
Death's Head turns into fucking giblets.
Yeah, Death's Head turns into giblets while we're still alive, pretty much all intact, crawling to the edge, admiring Anya as she's freeing the prisoners. And Blazkowicz is over here just being a poet, just coming up with like a bunch of analogies. Mother of exiles. Give me your tired, you're poor. Like your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Like he's so
Yeah.
he's so poetic in his thoughts, and I just thought this was wild. But
Yeah.
she escapes,
Yeah,
and
Anya and crew get out of there.
yeah, and then Fergus is like, "Am I clear to fire?" And then Blazkowicz says, "You're clear," and then cut to the credits. Roll the credits.
Roll the credits.
So, I mean, we
That's
can only
Wolfenstein.
assume that he
And
died, right? I mean, come on, he got blown up.
if you don't look at the cover of the second game or play the second game, then yeah,
Yeah.
you'll assume he died. Which
If you
was,
played
I
this
mean,
back in
the reality for like
2014,
6 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
if you played this
which
back
I
in
did.
2014,
I think that was an
you
awesome way
could,
to end it. Like, I wouldn't have minded
yeah,
if this was a one-off game.
exactly. That's how you know it was a good game. It's like it's not like really sequel bait, but like you can only imply that that's how it ends. So you're not really expecting another one. Too many games nowadays have like sequel bait at the end of it, and then next thing you know, you have all your fans just waiting eagerly for the next game, and they get impatient, and then you have to rush it. Then you end up coming out with a half-assed game.
Yeah. Um, that was Wolfenstein. One of the probably not, maybe not the best of all time, but one of my favorite of all time first-person shooters.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's not going to really leave you with any long-term thoughts like Soma or any of the other games we've covered, but it's a fun game and it's very enjoyable, and
Yeah,
it's one that I would not regret even buying a third time. It's a good game.
a good 6 to 8 hours of just carnage, and it's a hell of a time.
I enjoy it a lot. So stick around here a little bit, and we're going to talk about our next game for May. But first, we want to tell you a little bit about the Popcorn Club.
Yeah, the Popcorn Club. It's our Discord server. If you join it, we'll give you a free hat. Are we giving out free hats? Yeah, we're giving out
Uh,
free hats to whoever. I'm not making empty promises here. That was a total joke, okay? But we'll do
send you a sticker.
some. We'll we'll talk to you. We'll talk about the games and movies that we're currently watching and doing all that. I would love to hear what you guys are playing and or watching. So if you could join the Discord server and we could talk about it, that'd be great.
Yeah, we may not have hats, but I will send out stickers to the
Yeah.
first 10 who join.
Get
So,
some stickers, man. Put it on your hydro flask. Put it on your hat. Put it on your laptop.
yeah. So
They're actually pretty
if you
cool
join the
stickers.
Discord, just shoot me a DM on there, and I will get your address and I will send you out a sticker,
Absolutely.
free of charge,
Free.
other than your time. But yeah, we're also on Gmail at hazardousopinionspod@gmail.com, or you can connect with us on Instagram at hazardousopinionspod. Um, we'll respond to both of those, or you can ask questions there, send suggestions for games and or movies, or just chat with us and let us know what you think about episodes. Uh, as well as that, we would also very much appreciate it if you give a rating or review on Spotify or Apple. Definitely helps us out, and we would love you much for it.
Yeah, that definitely, for the Spotify thing, that would definitely help us out for the Spotify algorithm. So if you want us to do more of this, please rate whatever you feel.
Yes, help us work through the algorithm as we are all fighting in this
Yep.
world.
It's the algorithm is the main enemy, and we need your help. Join us.
Algorithm is the new Nazism.
Yeah.
So, as May's game is your pick, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we're gonna be playing Titanfall 2.
Woo!
Yeah, made by Respawn. We're not gonna talk about the first Titanfall because that's just a multiplayer game. We don't do that. Imagine if we just did a whole episode on Call of Duty multiplayer. We're
In
just
this
gonna be like,
game,
I
I
hate
went
it. It sucks.
10 and 40. And in the second game, yeah, Titanfall 1 is great, since we'll never actually get to really formally talk about it. But I'm sure we'll discuss it more during Titanfall 2 as well.
Yeah.
Very highly recommend. Yeah, and that's all I have. Again, if you have comments and or questions, please hit us up at any of the previously mentioned, or check out the description for links.
All right.
See ya.
See you next time.